Beard. Do you feel alone? Do you feel neglected? Not doing too well with the ladies? Well, I've got the solution for you. Low self-esteem? Throw a beer. Afraid to follow your dreams? Throw a beer. Are you lonely and sad? Throw a beer. You wanna look good and plaid? Throw a beer. Are you working out? Throw a beer. Did your car break down? Throw a beer. Ice caps melting? Throw a beer. Are you stuck in the middle of nowhere and you need to make an important phone call but the battery's dead? You can't find an outlet to plug in your charger? Grow a beard. Grow the beard, feed the beard, brush the beard, manscape the beard, stroke the beard, love the beard, fear the beard, obey the beard, obey the beard, obey the beard, behold the beard, obey the beard, accept the beard, obey the beard, respect the beard, obey the beard.
Oh my God. Becky, look at his beard. It's just so beard.
Impress your dates with your beard. Eat a steak with the beard. Chop down trees with the beard. Crush your enemies with the beard. Catch a fish with the beard. Roundhouse kick with the beard. Troll the nets with the beard. Chia pets, beard. Drive a truck with the beard. Try your luck with the beard. Arm wrestle with the beard. Teenage Mutant Ninja beard. Pet the doggy with the beard. Pledge allegiance to the beard. Can't grow a beard, then buy a beard. Do you have a beard? Then grow more beard.
You need to shave this thing.
Shut up, Grandma. Grow a beard. Up in the beard. Drink to the beard, 'cause beards are good and scruff. Obey the beard. Behold the beard. Obey the beard. Accept the beard. Obey the beard. Respect the beard. Obey the beard. I was so empty and lost inside till I grew you. I put my faith in my facial hair to get me through. Well, I can defy the odds again and again with you on my chin. With every moment you grow closer and closer to my heart. I love you, beard.
If you love it so much, why don't you just marry it?
Do you take this beard to be your lawfully wedded beard? For bearder or for worse, in scruffiness and in beard, till shave do you part? I beard. Abe Lincoln had a beard. ZZ Top, epic beard. Dimebag Darrell, nettle beard. Chuck Norris, kick-ass beard. Number one making beard. Chewbacca is a beard. Santa Claus, Jesus Christ, God has a beard. Obey the beard! Obey the beard! Obey the beard! Obey the beard!
I think we're gonna do a show now. Is what I think is gonna happen.
We better.
It's that time, isn't it?
It is that time.
Oh man, I gotta
same
say,
beard time, same beard channel.
I gotta say, your sense of style in the T-shirt department, Peakless, is it's just off the fucking hook tonight.
It is.
Like that's wow, holy shit! What a statement.
This might be the coolest shirt ever.
Well, I mean, I do like it.
Shut up, man. Don't contradict me.
I do like it. I also love the Beard Talk Live shirt.
True.
It
was a tough choice.
It's also kick-ass, pun intended.
Yeah, it was a tough choice, but Ian already had that side covered, so.
Yeah. What do we do here? Oh, yeah, it's a call-in show.
Oh, yeah.
And there's like a number or something.
Yeah.
603-283-6160. There's a couple of people holding. This is Beard Talk Live. What fucking episode are we?
I have no idea.
Shit, I have to go
30
look.
something, 39?
We're gonna have to go look. Fortunately for us,
And the colors don't even know that's why they're still on hold.
they're like, dude, how can you not know what episode of your own fucking show it is? Right? That's what they're saying, and I don't blame them. I would say the same thing if I were them listening to me.
Because we're professionals.
Well, yes, we are. So even as badly as I screw things up, I just go, well, I meant to do that. It's part of the show. Be like, oh.
Well, the air of authenticity is very important to us.
The air of, is that like flatulence? The air of authenticity? That's what I'm going to call it
Well,
next time I fart. I'm going to be like, oh, there's going to be some air of authenticity coming your way.
It's why we don't have this beautiful, well-made studio with, a giant green screen. None of that. No. We fuck up on this show.
Yeah, we do. And what I really like about this show is that it's uncensored. No, I'm
That it
sorry.
is.
Let me correct myself. Take two. What I really like about this show is that it's fucking uncensored.
Mm-hmm.
I'm reminded of the great line from, I think it's Clerks 2. Jay and Silent Bob are dealing some weed after getting out of rehab.
Mm-hmm.
And they're having a conversation with the guy trying to buy the weed in the parking lot.
Mm.
And somehow, like, Jay pulls out, like, a miniature Bible. And he's like, is that a fucking Bible? And he's like, hey, it's the holy fucking Bible.
Nice.
Yeah. So it turns out this is episode 39.
Ah, I called it.
Episode 39, yes. Your cognitive reasoning and, well, numerical skills are intact. We have all of the usuals on hold waiting right now, but I'm going to actually go to this caller first.
All right.
Beard Talk Live, who the fuck is this?
Hey, Captain, it's me, Rob.
It's Rob.
In Vermont?
That's the one. Rob, welcome to Beard Talk Live. What the fuck is up?
Oh, hey, thanks for bringing me on the show. I can't see you on the screen because I haven't got my laptop fired up yet. But, hey, I wanted to call in because I think I got a pretty decent subject that I want to talk about, and it's important. But I want to share something with you first before I do that. It's some good news and it's some bad news.
All right.
The bad news is the other day I went to Walmart. Walgreens, excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
And I was looking for a particular item and I found it, and it was I'd always wanted a small electric mustache and beard trimmer.
Oh, dude, are you channeling? So I came up with this idea. Okay, I'm just going to let you talk, Rob. Go ahead. I'll tell you my story later.
I had never had one, and I'd wanted one because I'm trying to keep my beard, or at least I'm trying to. I guess maybe I'm not old enough, but it doesn't grow in right, but I'm trying to keep it reshaped. But anyways.
Yeah, you want to keep your beard shapely. I get it. Yeah. Hell yeah.
Yeah. So I brought it home,
I mean,
and
it's not
a
for
cordless
everyone,
one.
but generally.
And so I had to charge this thing up. And when it was done charged up, I tried it, and I just barely touched it.
Oh, no.
It's like, oh, my
It
God.
ate your beard.
It just ate the beard.
Oh.
I just barely touched it.
Are you clean shaven now?
Yeah,
And
was it
so
one of those really bad
I-
ones where you're like, well, that about tears the whole beard. Got to start over.
I am ashamed of myself. I won't even go outside like this, But so I had to start all over again. But the good news is
That it'll all grow
all
back?
the stubbles are all coming in.
That is good news.
There you go.
That is good news.
That's right, for a brand new beard.
So it's really weird to me that you bring this exact call to our show tonight. Now, to the casual listener, they're like, well, I don't understand. You're called Beard Talk Live. He's talking about a beard trimmer, and you guys seem to know each other a little bit or whatever. Like, that's not why it's weird. I haven't told you why it's weird yet. It's weird because
He's mind reading.
At my house, sort of. At my house today, I was hanging out with, not today, this week, I was hanging out with a couple of people, and the thought popped into my head, I got it. I know the best piece of merchandise we can have for Beard Talk Live, and it's a Beard Talk Live branded beard trimming kit. Right? Wouldn't that be a kick-ass piece of merchandise for this show to have?
Only if we put this on it.
Well, no, we put the Beard Talk Live logo on it.
Well, then it'll be a Beard Talk Live one. This
Right,
might be
see,
a kick-ass one.
The style of beard that I want, okay, and I'm sure it's never going to happen, is, sort of straight down like Billy Gibbons. He's always been a fan of mine.
Yeah.
I know it'll never look like that, but I'm going to try like hell.
Epic beard. Yeah.
Epic beard. And then, of course, Dimebag Joe, he had the metal beard.
Every time this subject comes up, I like to mention, and by this subject I mean ZZ Top, the three-piece. They're famous for their long beards. But there's one guy, they're a three-piece band, by the way. There's one guy in the band, doesn't have a beard. He's the drummer, and you barely notice him because he's always behind the kit. You only notice the guitar player and the bass player, who have the giant beards, right? But you never notice the drummer. He only has a mustache. He does not have a beard, but his name is Frank Beard.
So he does have a beard.
He is Beard, right?
Beard.
He's not
Yep.
Beard. He's just Beard.
So you know what that means?
He's Mr. Beard.
There's an entire line of people who married a beard.
There's Beard family out there.
He's proof that they married their beard.
I wonder if there's
Exactly.
I wonder if there's any single attractive girls with the last name Beard who are liberty-minded.
I
It'd be
mean,
interesting to
the odds
find
are
out.
not in your favor.
No, probably not. Thank you for the outstanding commentary.
But it is a weird world,
It is.
as
So,
evidenced by his.
go ahead, Rob.
So what's the good news?
I'd like to get into this.
He told us the good
subject.
news. The good news was that the stubble's growing back.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So this, I don't know if nobody is there or not, but
I don't feel like that really balanced out the bad news. No, nobody's not here.
No, nobody is not here. How many negatives can we get in a row? No. Nobody is not here.
He's
So,
not here.
I learned also recently that a man from Australia back in 1914, Sigmund Freud is the one that discovered narcissistic personality problems.
Mm-hmm.
And that scenario was used in World War II, and then I think that it was used in the 60s, and it was used heavily in the 80s and 90s. And I think that personality problems is coming back stronger than ever. It seems to me that it's sort of hijacking the country. What do you think?
Well, I think that narcissistic people are pretty much always in government. They're really the only ones that can be drawn to that. I mean, like, now, I would say King Narcissist was Trump, because, like, they're all obsessed with themselves, but they also have this addiction to power. Like, his was just pure, I love my own face and the sound of my own voice.
Trump's like, I love me.
Yep.
Everybody celebrate me.
Yep. He is the poster child of self-love. He really is. Like he committed his life to becoming the most famous person ever, and he did.
I guess, like, if you have to be a psychopath to do this, but if fame is your goal and you're willing to do anything to achieve it, becoming president, if that's your goal, will make you fucking famous.
Yeah.
And a psychopath.
Yeah. Well, so that's the thing. He's a businessman in America, right? So the corporate structure of America causes everyone who rises to the top of a major company to at least exhibit sociopathy.
Right
like,
now,
corporations don't know right from wrong, so the people who end up running them can't act like they know right from wrong while they're running them.
And the same thing applies to governments, except for more psychopathy, because, well, they get to murder.
Right. Yeah, so they're a corporation whose primary product is death.
Yeah.
Secondary product, threats.
Yeah, so much
they're
so.
really heavily going into their secondary product.
So much so, you know, I'm a wordy guy. I like different words. Democide has stuck in my mind from the day I learned it. It is a portmanteau, but that's not the important part. The important part is what it means. It means that governments have murdered so many people, or been, you know, indirectly, if you will. I don't even know, like, I believe democide, the statistics are people who have actually been killed by government outside of war. And it's, you know, 250-some thousand, million, right? 250-some million people, 252, I think, 53, something in there, million people just in the 20th century alone. So that's just shy of the population of the United States gone because people believe that this organization that does nothing but violence and threats to everybody else is
had
necessary.
a right to do that.
Yeah, they think it's necessary for, not only do they think they have a right to do it, they think it's necessary for the advancement of mankind. And that's fucking bullshit.
It is.
Well,
and
so I think that's the other way around, though. I think that they've convinced themselves that this thing is necessary so that they don't have to think about it. Like, if you think for 1 second,
well, yeah.
Like, I mean, it's literally exactly like, I mean, I know they still do the stupid ceremonies, but no one actually fucking believes that you're a divinely sent person. That's why you're king. No one believes you have a divine right to rule that just gets bestowed on you. No, you're a human
no, there are
fucking
people
being
who
like the
do
rest of
fully
us.
fucking believe that.
I mean, well,
I mean, how many different types of personality disorders are there in a narcissistic? I could think of 4.
So one of the things you were touching on is, like, there's this group, like, it was a triad, now it's a tetrad, the dark tetrad, the dark triad, and I know that 2 of those was narcissism and sociopathy. So, yeah, I mean, they definitely cluster.
Yeah, I mean, because one of the things that I'm seeing is with these personality disorders is they'll go to all lengths to get what they're looking for, including gaslight people. You know, and you can't fight someone that's gaslighting you. You know, it's like trying to fight a ghost. You know, these were tactics.
And that's why, like, so, like, I got in the argument with Arizona Pain in My Ass. And he's like, you're not fighting them. I'm fighting them in the only effective way that you fight things like this. Like, you stop feeding it.
Stop feeding it. And then, if you are able, build a better way.
Right.
Right?
Right.
And, you know, the New Hampshire freedom migration is real.
Yeah.
People are moving here more and more every day because, you know, they see it. They're like, oh, shit, it's coming. And, oh, you know what? I would like to be free.
Right.
And so let's try and make that happen. Let's build our way into that. Let's take and outbuild what, you know, the people who are in control have. Let's build better ways to communicate, to transact with each other, to exchange value with each other, to prove to people that it can be done on a voluntary basis individually without this behemoth agency of death and destruction and murder and all of the bad things. All of the sins from all of the religions are committed by government, and the reason everybody goes on is because they think it's legitimate. They think that somehow by voting, by magically casting a ballot in a box or in a terminal, you know, every 4 years or whatever, that like, oh, well, I'm doing good here. No, you're not. You're doing evil.
Right.
You are literally giving your sanction to evil.
Yeah. And that's exactly it. Stop giving them the power.
Yeah.
I mean, the power comes from the money.
Yeah.
And as long as you are the collateral on their loans, then they can keep loaning more and more. And there's a reason for that. Human beings are fucking incredible.
Switch to cryptocurrency now is my advice to anybody who, you know, is like looking to like try and get ahead in the future. Yeah. Get yourself a wallet, buy yourself some cryptocurrency, buy a bunch of the different ones, figure out what the top 10 of them are, and buy a little bit of each of them.
Yeah.
You know, keep it around. Don't do anything with it. And, well, that's not exactly what you want to do. You want to do something with it. What you want to do is try. Just try a little bit. Try once a week to find something that you would normally buy, and find somewhere like online or on an app or something that will take cryptocurrency for that thing, something you would normally buy. Groceries, for example. You would normally buy groceries. So if you can find a place where you go, I don't know, buy your eggs from, and they'll take crypto. Maybe it's a local farmer. Maybe it's a neighbor, right? Maybe it's a store. Maybe it's a convenience store who's like, you know what? I got to have every competitive edge I can. Business is tough right now.
Yep.
I accept crypto. Or maybe you'll talk them into accepting it. Right? Just try a little bit. That's all you have to do is just try a little bit consistently for a period of time, and you will begin to find more and more ways to transact without the violence that comes with the organization-type government.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with you. You know that is that these government agencies are doing this, but it's also you have just the regular, ordinary American people that are not even part of the government association that are just, like I said, they're gaslighting people. This is stuff that women did to men back in Vietnam.
Yeah.
They would get married, they had kids, and then the husband would go off to Vietnam.
Well,
and
since you
then the
mentioned
wife would
gaslighting
gaslight
people,
the
like
husband while he was off fighting the war.
one of the weird things of the world that we're entering into. So governments have always been extremely good at gaslighting people, and religions as well, especially the more oppressive of both of those things. But the ability to gaslight people has just shot through the roof. Like, okay, we have, I mean, they're getting called AIs, which is really dumb, partly because it's going to make people very surprised when real AIs show up.
Well, it's like smart contracts are neither smart nor are they contracts. They're programs, and they're dumb. They're dumb programs is what they are. Yeah,
the neat thing about so-called smart programs is how dumb they are. Like, it will absolutely execute according to its code. But yeah, I mean, the ability to gaslight is going to be everywhere. Like, okay, so Zelensky impersonators decided to troll both heads of the central banks, Jay Powell and I forget what her name is in the EU, right? And I was so shocked by this thing. It's like, I mean, well, wait a second. How do I know that only one of these voices is simulated? And it's like, oh, we just crossed that threshold. Like, AIs are good enough to make us uncertain at this point of a lot of information. Yeah, I'm kind of I'm being replaced in some of my work, if you will. A large portion of my work has been doing voicings for phone systems. Thank you for calling Dunkin' Donuts, located at blah, blah, blah Avenue and blah, 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 right? There's something like 300 Dunkin' Donuts that have my voice on their phone systems for their, their voicemail, all that kind of stuff, their phone tree, that kind of thing. And that's just the one that, I don't know, I've done thousands of these all over the place.
I wonder
but
if
like
you
now,
could create a law firm with AI bot.
Somebody was going to try that. They were going to try using AI as an attorney in
Apparently
court.
It's already scheduled.
No, they actually put the kibosh on it. The guy who was going to do it was like, I'm too afraid. No, he's like, I'm too afraid of what the government's going to do to me if I do this. If I remember correctly. At any rate, my point is that AI technology, as far as replicating the human voice, is so good now that I am no longer doing voicings for a whole bunch of things.
Right.
Because now you can just type the words you want to say into a box, choose either a picture or a personality or some combination of the two that you want to put with it, and it will voice it as if it is a human being.
Right.
And you can't tell the difference.
Yeah. Well, proof positive, man. The official story is, and it is believably so, these two heads of central banks got fooled by an AI of Zelensky.
Right.
Like, that happened. That happened. This has been proven.
Okay. Every time it's brought up, though, I laugh like this because I I haven't been drinking in a while, but like I want to just crack a beer, like I'm celebrating.
Right.
Because
Sit back with your popcorn, man.
I'm not celebrating the fact that AI duped some people. I'm celebrating the fact that it was the banks.
Right. Yeah. I gotta tip my hat on the targeting of that.
I'm
like,
sorry,
seriously,
but
you made a passable Zelensky and you targeted the heads of banks. That's
yeah,
well done.
bravo. I'm sorry, Rob. You were saying something.
Yeah, I lost my train of thought, but
All right, good. Because I'm probably going to let you go and go on to another call. But thanks for the call, Rob. We'll talk to you again soon. That was Rob from Vermont. I don't know if I'm doing that right. I'm not trying to make fun of him. Oh, shit. Well,
Wrong button?
he'll call back. Yeah, I hit the wrong button.
Well, it's not
Great.
just me then.
Beard Talk Live. Who the fuck is this?
It's Ricky from the fucking Commonwealth.
Hey, Ricky from the fucking
Are you sure it's not
Commonwealth.
fucking Ricky from the Commonwealth? It's Ricky from the fucking Commonwealth?
So. Not at this point, no.
Or
Okay.
is it Ricky from the Common fucking Wealth?
No, I think it's Ricky from the fucking Commonwealth.
Well,
Okay.
I don't know how
You would
lucky
know.
Ricky gets, but I'll tell you
Well,
this
pretty
much. The
much.
Commonwealth is fucking everyone. So it is a fucking Commonwealth.
Ricky from the fucking Commonwealth?
Yes.
Okay. Well, Ricky, you're on Beard Talk Live.
Well, here's what I got on my mind. But before I go into that, one comment I'll say about the Trumpster and his town hall and all that.
Wait, are
Now-
you gonna turn into a Trumpanzee?
Absolutely not. No, my answer is this, because people are getting uptight and all that. And I know what you're saying
Getting.
about laughing about some of his jokes and stuff like that. But here's the problem with what Trump says about these things. One, he's dead serious. But more importantly, Trump could say to all the MAGA dudes, all of them, you know what? I'm going to chop my own dick off. And you will see tons of MAGA people with no dicks. That's the problem. That's the fucking problem with Trump.
Okay.
That might be the funniest thing I've ever heard Ricky say.
That might be the
I
funniest
don't
thing
know
he's ever
about
said.
that.
I will say, like, if that were true, then they'd have stabbed themselves in the arm with an unknown syringe.
Some did.
He's not
Plenty of
wrong.
them
Some
did.
did.
Really?
Yeah, plenty
I've
of
heard
them
of
did.
not a single story of that ever happening.
Oh, come on. You know there's a MAGA dude out there that got that.
I mean,
Yeah, come on.
there's enough of us, and people are people. I'm sure that it happened, but I have never heard of that actually happening. Like, I'm sure it does.
I don't know really any MAGA dudes, so
Unfortunately, I run into too many of these people, men and
maybe
women.
I
They're-
do, and like I just haven't asked them. Like, what's your
Well,
stand? Are you a
anybody-
MAGA
here's the
dude?
thing,
Like,
Captain.
Well, I mean, there's
Anybody
MAGA
you talk
libertarians.
to- Well, here's what it is. Anybody you talk to that's a Republican that thinks that Trump is still the president ever since, he left the White House and secretly running the military to this day, yeah, they're those crazy MAGA people. These are the QAnon guys and all of that. These are the ones that would chop their own dicks off.
Yeah.
the 3,872,576 D chess.
Yep.
Those guys?
Huh?
Those guys?
Although, to be fair, that would make him more famous, so I can't write it off as a possibility.
As an impossibility.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I can't write it off of my list of possibilities.
Right, but I did have another topic in mind, although this is fun.
Oh, great.
On your,
Curb your enthusiasm.
Well, Captain, you talked to me on the sister program this past Sunday. You talked to me about all these taxes and stuff.
Mhm.
And I went down the whole list, including the cigarette tax. And yes, I said I'm a slave, but not the cigarettes. And I know you mentioned R.G. Reynolds. Now, when I do buy cigarettes, they're $15 a pack, and they're Camel-On filters.
$15 a pack?
Camel-On filters up to 15 is 66% of fucking taxes. I
Holy
explained it. That's
fucking
not nice.
shit, man. Like, I quit when they were like $8 a pack. And I
Well,
thought,
no, I
holy fuck.
No, this is what I'm going to talk about. My
Did you think,
history of smoke.
I'm glad I didn't have to pay double digits for
I
these
was smoking
fuckers.
2 packs a day.
Well, this is what I wanted to talk about. My history of smoking. Because even if I did quit, I'd be a slave to coffee in the morning. That aside, here's my history of smoking. Now in PA, it's a big smoking or chewing or something Commonwealth. It really is. But here's my history as a person. it used to be one of our gross national products. Now, when I was 15 years old, that's when I started smoking pipe and I smoked cigars. I smoked the mock Cubans.
Yeah.
Those are the Honduran cigars, and they were identical in every way to Cubans, except they were $2.25, and they were made in Honduras instead of $100. But then also, the following year, that's when I started dipping snuff. That was Copenhagen. And I also used to use loose leaf, but I didn't like stuff that was flavored like Red Man. I would get stuff that was just cigar leaf.
You strike me as a Kodiak kind of guy.
Shit, no.
No?
Fuck no.
All right.
Copenhagen. See, I like real tobacco flavor, and I'll continue on. I like, if I couldn't get Wallen Scrap.
Leave it to Ricky to wave a flag, man.
Huh?
I said leave it to Ricky to wave a flag.
A chaw flag, nonetheless.
Exactly.
No, that would be
Chaw and
the
Turbaccy.
No, the Southern Cross. That would be. That'd be the Confederate flag. You know, I'm the.
That's
Confederate
the flag we
flag.
expect you to wave.
Okay,
But
that
you get just as tribal about tobacco by the looks of it. So
The only time, wait, hang on. The only time I've ever really enjoyed seeing the rebel flag is on the top of the General Lee. The car from the Dukes of Hazzard.
Around with it on my back.
You know, the orange car with the 01 and the horn. Whatever that was.
Yeah,
Well,
new
well,
rule.
it's
You're totally allowed to have that flag if you have oranges on the edges. Like if you have a little orange strip on each edge, so that, no, this isn't the Confederacy. This is the General Lee.
Oh, the car, not
Exactly.
the general.
Right, but if I may finish with my history, because I got to
guess.
finish this. Okay. So what
Oh,
happened to
sorry,
me-
Ricky. I'm sorry our show is keeping
I'm sorry the Duke boys were at it again.
From making your statement, so go ahead.
Okay. So at 16, you know, I was doing loose leaf. You know, I preferred male pouch if I couldn't get like something like Wallen Scrap that was just dried cigar leaf.
Okay.
You know, I even around that time tried nasal snuff, you know, like the lime. I mean, you know, I remember I just tried in the tobacco shop, you know, but it was cool for a couple seconds, but I'd be sniffing that all day and it was expensive.
Yeah.
And what's interesting, at the time, I remember I signed the petition, you know, at the stand for Skoll and Copenhagen at the fair up here, you know, and at that time I was 16 because you only need to be 15 to buy that stuff. Now, here's where it started to change. Now, when I was 22 years old, it's funny because when I was 10 years old, I had a Camel non-filter. Me and my friend from the end of the block snuck up to the cemetery hanging out. He gave me one he stole from his brother, and I didn't care for it. Now I'm 22 years old. I start smoking that. And that became my favorite brand for a long time. It was $1.50 when I started. You know, now
that's one thing. Tobacco gets inflation before pretty much anything else.
Oh, I when I started smoking, I got my first pack of cigarettes that I bought at a convenience store when I was 16 years old for $1. And as soon as the price went up to $1.25, it was like in the news, the newspapers, on television. It was like, oh, people are pretty upset at the 25-cent price hike of the price of cigarettes, right?
You know what was
that was a
funny,
big
Captain?
deal.
Yeah.
You know what was really funny, Captain? When I was a kid, maybe 6, 7 years old, my mother used to give me $1, right? And I'd go run down the corner store, and it was only half a block away. And it was only 65 cents for a pack of Marlboro Reds, which you smoked.
Right.
I had the rest to buy the penny candy, and that was where you bought the cigarettes, and the candy was right before it, you know? I mean, I didn't smoke then. The funny thing that happened to me was, you know, and I smoked throughout the years, Camel. So, I mean, the cigarette tax got higher and higher and higher.
Sure.
You know, now it's 66%. You got 6% sales tax. You got the cigarette tax. 30% goes to the Commonwealth, just like the sales tax. But 30% goes to Uncle Sam for doing nothing. It's not even sold here. So here's what I mostly do. I got sitting right next to here a bag of Gambler Turkish tobacco. It's similar to Camel. Camel uses 50 domestic, 50 Turkish. There's no taxes on this.
With
It's
a brand
pound.
like Gambler, how can you go wrong?
Oh.
Well, here's the thing. It's a pound. They call it pipe tobacco. It's not. It's the same tobacco. You know, and the funny thing is it's 60% domestic, 50% Turkish. Now, Camel has 50% each. It's close. You know, and I take a 100
Hey, Ricky?
paper and I'll just tear the filter off and I'm good.
Ricky?
There's no taxes,
Ricky?
you know? Yeah.
I'm going to ask you to switch subjects.
Well, hang on.
Sure.
Hang on. Before you ask him to switch subjects, I want to say something about the price of cigarettes, because that's what Ricky was talking about a minute ago, and we were talking about how much cigarettes were when we started smoking. I said $1. He said $1.25. So just get that. This is inflation for you. This is fractional reserve lending. This is printing money. This is all of the bad things that government does to devalue your ability to purchase things. If a pack of cigarettes was $1 when I was 16, so 1988, right? And that same pack of cigarettes, according to Ricky, is $15 today. That's a what? A 30-fold increase?
So,
Yeah, I figure it's worth about $4.
Your complicating element there is taxes, though.
Okay, I'm just saying that, like, the reality for most people is the price of cigarettes has been this. In 1988, it was $1. It's $15 now, so that's, what is it? 15 times, no, that's a 15-fold, so it's 15 times 15, right?
Oh, so are you asking how much are they going to cost in the future? Because that one's really highly variable.
If it all went the same as it did in the previous 42 years, 44 years, whatever the number is, that means that in another 44 years, a pack of cigarettes will cost $225 if all of the things sort of stayed static and, you know, increased at the same rate that it increased over this past 40 years. We know that's not going to happen. We know it's going to go much faster. So I'm just saying, at a minimum, conservatively, that by the time anybody who's listening, if your kids are being born now, by the time they're 40, right, cigarettes are going to be hundreds of dollars a pack.
Well, that's
if the dollar's even around.
Well, one point I'll make, Captain, is it was $1.50 in 1996. But that aside, I only treat myself to Camels once in a while. I mean, this stuff's only like $20 a pound, and it's close. There's no taxes on it because it's just tobacco. It's only on the prefab stuff. It's ridiculous. You know. Now, what was your other change of topic you had in mind?
Oh, no, I was asking you to change topic from cigarettes because I quit, and I got to tell you, I will never be too far from wanting a cigarette for the rest of my fucking life.
I'm sorry, brother. I'm so sorry.
No, I appreciate it. It's just you're making me nick, man, and I don't like nicking because I don't do anything about it these days.
I'll change the topic real quick.
And I will say, so one of the reasons that tobacco is such an interesting flag is because of the addiction, right?
Yes.
So because of that, they can jack the prices expecting, you know, anything. Like, they are the first ones to jack it up because, like, you're still going to have the same customer base. And by the same token, that's also why the taxes are so freakish on those.
Yeah.
So the market is only finding its level with other tobacco makers, but the government knows that you will keep paying this fucking tax no matter how high I jack it.
Well, the worst problem with me is I understand all of that. See, it's not my subconscious mind that's the problem. See, I have a problem with my conscious mind.
Is it the leaky mouth? The conscious mind.
I really love smoking. That's the thing. I'll never quit because I love it too much. And I could deal with the subconscious.
Well, we all quit sometime.
Yeah.
You never know. But if I may say one thing to you quick, Captain. You know,
okay.
like you last week, you know, I was on, and after I was done, you put me. Last week.
Okay.
Yeah, I talked about pissing in the wind and all that piss talk in PA.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
That was pretty funny. I've been trying to do that call since
Pennsylvania.
2017. I could never figure out how on the other program.
All right, well, don't get sidetracked. What were you trying to say?
No, I won't. No, I was saying about what you did that was cool is you put me on hold so I could listen to the rest of the program. Now, here's the thing. Come the middle of next month, everybody laughs at me, but it's not funny. I'm a blind guy. I'm going to have my Lumia 950 XL up and running. So then I'll be able to, at that point, be able to listen to live stream and navigate a web page just like a sighted person. That's what Android doesn't allow people to do, you know?
Well, that's good news, man.
Yeah, it is. You know, I had a long talk with Samsung, got up to speed on Bixby and all of that.
How did you talk to the whole company?
Huh?
You said you had a long talk
They're
with Samsung.
representative.
Well, yeah, I did about a lot of things, and it was very enlightening.
So you called customer service is what you did?
I actually talked to somebody in their tech support team that would be suited for my topic.
Okay,
And you know what I told them? I said to them real simple. And then they pointed out to me, it's not our fault. It's Android's fault. We can't put that elaborate system for to navigate web pages in there because it's Google. Android is what it is. It's
Fucking
limited.
Google.
It's going to be a piece of crap forever. You know what I
Keeping
mean?
the blind man down.
Well, no, it won't be me.
No,
I'll be
it
fine
absolutely
on
is
this
that.
device
Google is
next
being a
month.
dick to blind people.
Google
Well,
is being a
it's not
dick to
even
the
just
blind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is. Well, you know what it is? Google can't do anything, and Samsung can't do anything because it's a limitation of Android. You can't put a system like that in there. You can only use Bixby to do certain things, and
Well,
you
what
can't
are you trying to
navigate a
do on
web
this
page
thing?
like that.
What are you
Huh?
trying to do on this thing? Because it sounds like it's Google being proprietary and not Android being incapable of what you're aiming at.
Well, you see, Google owns Android. It's the Android.
Right, they're the ones
operating
that do the operating system. So, like
Yeah,
the
but see,
smartphone
Google
technology,
didn't design it.
like
Google didn't
either the
design it,
smartphone
Android.
technology is capable of this, and Google's being a dick, which is what I think is happening, or you've figured out something that like our smartphones are not up to. So, what are you trying to have this thing do?
Well, as an example, when you go on to a web page, like say Wikipedia.com, on Windows Phone, it worked this way. And this was exclusive to the phone. It
Oh,
wasn't the
fuck,
same
we're back on
the-
Windows phones again. Ricky.
Well, no, it's real simple. If you want to know, I can make it real quick.
Yeah, you're getting off track, man. I'm asking you what you wanted them to do that they're not able to do.
Well, it's not. You see, here's the thing. They said they can't do it, and I knew they couldn't. Put in a system where you could navigate a web page where instead of just the talkback crap, which is all it has, you touch something, it tells you what it is, and then you can read the whole page. Otherwise, like this other operating system, you could navigate it by going up and down and then cycling left and right to choose different things like items, paragraphs, links, and switch in between them and choose different stuff. So, say for example, you hit paragraphs.
Yeah, so
It
you
would
you
swipe
you
down,
used
go
to
to
use a
next.
platform, and you found that platform better than the current one you're using, right? As far as the
Well,
ability to
because
navigate.
I know as a person that used it and tested it before that, I can't see now, and I could before poorly. I couldn't run it Android blind. I'm very familiar with it. You can't do it. You can't navigate the damn thing. So you got videos and you got links and you got other stuff, and you're just touching it to see what it is. If you don't know what's on that web page, you're not going to know what it is. It's purely at random, because that's all TalkBack does.
Well, why aren't you getting a
basically-
Braille smartphone?
There is no such thing, and I don't know Braille.
No fucking way.
I don't. I never learned. Even though I was going blind my whole life, I never learned. They always said I should have.
No, I'm
Well,
saying
you know,
there's
blind
no way that
smartphone.
there's no way that no one has gotten around to inventing a Braille smartphone. And I don't necessarily mean like the language itself per se, but like the raised dots form of communication. Like that there has to be a phone that does that. I mean, it's such
Well,
an
the only
obvious
thing-
market technology.
Well, the only thing I can say, when you're dealing with a web page and a screen, you can't do that. But for example, like right now, I just got a crappy flip phone. That's all going to change next month. But like if you hit the 5, there's a little dot on it. You know what I mean? You can
Oh, yeah.
feel the
Yeah,
six,
I
center
remember
key,
those.
that kind of thing.
You
Yeah.
dial numbers at least, But I'll be able to do everything next month, including send text, write text, navigate web pages,
Nice,
click
man.
on links, you name it. Anything a sighted person can do on a cell phone. But Android doesn't allow a blind
Well, I'm glad that
person to do
Bixby
it that
shit
way.
helped, man, because I couldn't stand it. Samsung was always trying to push it. Like I had to disable so many things to get them to quit telling me to put Bixby on.
Hey, Ricky, I got to
Well,
talk
you
to
know
somebody
what,
else. Hang on. Beard Talk Live. Who the fuck is this?
Hey, it's Tim from Florida.
Hey, Tim from Florida. You're
How's it going?
on Beard Talk Live, the uncensored live stream, the most bearded Liberty stream online. That's our brand, right?
Fuck yeah.
Okay.
All right, I got my shirt.
Sweet.
Nice.
Yep.
Hey, me too.
You did, and you have a Captain Kick-Ass shirt
Yeah.
too, which is, well, kick-ass.
Yeah,
Yeah,
my
I got
cup
the beer,
runneth
I got the
over.
Beer Talk Live shirt.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Hey, yeah, I was listening to Ricky from the Commonwealth. I'm semi-familiar with not in particular what he's dealing with, but I had a friend who was unsighted back when I lived in California, and he actually decided not to take disability when he was offered it, and he ended up working for an assistive technology reseller. And I just looked it up because I was going to mention it, and apparently they're out of business or something. Their website's down, but I know that they would sell things that would make the computer work so you don't have to see the screen. And same thing with smartphones.
Oh, so you're talking about either apps or external hardware that allows...
Yeah, and this was like 12, 14, 15 years ago. I mean,
Okay.
when I lived there. So I don't know.
I'm definitely
it's
sad to
gone
hear
downhill.
that. I'm sad it's out of business.
Well, maybe they're out of business because there's something that has replaced it that's even better. Or they got bought
I hope
by some
so.
other company and
I hope so,
melded
man.
with some other product. And
They destroyed so many fucking businesses.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, turns out, like, telling everyone, you have all the same bills, but you're not allowed to earn money. Hey, we'll help some of you pay your bills. Come back. While we, of course, enrich all of our friends. And, oh my God, Amazon's going to run everything now.
Yeah, they sure fucking do.
Yeah.
Oh, that reminds me. I think one of the things I remember about all of the products they sold were they were all proprietary. They would sell a bunch of proprietary devices. So I think a lot of times they would help the purchaser with some sort of government assistance. So it wasn't like, a totally free market solution.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But, and then there was software. I remember he was trying to teach me how to basically troubleshoot the software because he was trying to get me to come over there as like tech support over the phone. And I kind of regret not doing it. And but yeah, I think one of them was called JAWS. That was the big name at the time, JAWS software.
Like
And it would actually read
JAWS or JAWZ?
I'm not sure, but it would basically read the screen to you, and as you would, I think you use like sticky keys, and it would read to you or something. I don't know.
Yeah, it's tough to tell whether something's going to be free market in anything to do with disabilities because it's close enough to healthcare that the government likes to stick its fingers in.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, I mean the technology of like tactile screen is pretty obvious. I'm sure someone's doing that.
Tim?
Hey, a tactile screen. Like, okay, so he would have a device that he would use when he crossed the street, and that's actually not what I'm thinking of when you mentioned the tactile screen.
Oh yeah, I was talking
we had a
about
smartphones.
smartphones.
He was a roommate, and we had a microwave, and he would actually put a sticker, like a tactile sticker on like a nipple, on the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He put it on the 5 key, and from there he could
Just
figure
like
out which
the
number was
flip
which.
phone.
Right, yeah, all of the, just like the flip phone. And like a regular keyboard, obviously, has the dots on the keys so that you know where to put your home row and so that you can type without looking at the keyboard, just know where the keys are. So it's the same exact purpose. I just searched tactile display, and the first thing that popped up, something from TechCrunch. This tactile display lets visually impaired users feel on screen in 3D. And they have a picture of a guy, I don't know what he's doing. Might be pornographic. I don't know. It's probably not. But that looks interesting. And even as a guy who's not blind, I'm like, might be cool to feel some stuff, you know?
Yeah.
If they had if Scratch and Sniff TV were a thing, right? And then you're watching like diners, drive-ins, and dives or whatever, where they're cooking up something delicious.
Oh my God, that would be amazing.
Somebody doing like some smoking barbecue or whatever.
So here's the thing: that is possible after we get our shit together on the 3D printers for food. So like right now they exist, but the technology is so early it's incredibly crude. But if we get better at that, Now, I'm not suggesting living off of it. That's a terrible, terrible, terrible idea. But if we get good enough at that, then we'll be able to construct the complex organic molecules that are smells, which is the vast majority of the information in food or in flavor.
Yeah, it's interesting about the sense of smell that the sense of smell is actually the majority of your sense of taste.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Yeah. It boggles my mind that like the smell really is, probably next to sight, I guess, the number 2 scent. As you know, I mean, some people would say sound. I'm a sound junkie too, man. I love sounds. I don't necessarily love all music, but I love sounds in general.
So check this out. So your sound thing, human beings have this like extra part of our brain to process sound because we have this whole language that we use for abstractions. So on each side, like one side is devoted to turning sound into thoughts, and the other one is to turn thoughts into sound. Whereas smell, like we don't have a really extra part of the brain for processing that, but it is right next to your brain. So the information from smell just goes directly into your memory sector.
Mainline right into your fucking shit.
Yeah, and the part of the brain that it's next to most is the memory sector. So that's why you have the like grandma's cookies or like there is a particular smell that will jog your memories completely.
Yeah, you're like, oh, I can still smell that girl's perfume or whatever, right? Yeah.
Right. Yeah, because the memory sector is right next to that nerve.
Hey, that happened to me today. Actually, not to bring up cigarettes again, but I haven't smoked cigarettes in probably about 1.5 years or more.
It's fine. Just don't go on for too long about it.
Nope. Actually, that's not even what I'm talking about. All of a sudden, 2 years later, basically, I'm like picking up all of these scents. And, it's actually wonderful because today I actually smelled the saltwater air that I smelled when I was a little kid. And it's always been here. I just couldn't smell it for years.
Yeah. So as soon as you quit smoking, your appetite comes back, and through a process, your ability to taste comes back, which is like having a second appetite. Yeah.
Yeah. Your wallet comes back too because you're not spending as much on,
Yeah. Well, here I am. I'm actually going to change the subject a little bit. Speaking of spending a lot of money.
Segway alert! Segway alert! Upcoming Segway. Tim, take us away.
Okay. So, we've got the new generation AI that's coming out now, but it seems like only yesterday we were all complaining about the algorithms on YouTube and the advertisements, and they were listening to us and how invasive it was. And I actually have a positive story about how the YouTube, I don't know if it's YouTube's AI. I think they're kind of like all kind of tied in together, basically with the remote control from the Xfinity Flex box, which is kind of like a Roku box. It's the Roku box.
Okay.
So the remote listens to you, and then somehow that gets pumped into YouTube. So
interesting.
Yeah, so there's actually a happy ending. Not in that way. My dog had growth, and we thought it was a cyst, and it actually turned out after we got the cytology, it was a mast cell tumor. And basically they sent me to the surgeon, and the surgeon was saying, yeah, we're going to have to cut off your toe, and then we can see what kind of tumor it is. I'm like, you have to cut off. They're like, yeah, because of where it is. I'm like, all right, well, let me go think about this.
Yeah.
And I didn't have to go think about it. I said, hold on a second. So what had happened was I had been talking about it to different people, and one day I'm watching YouTube, and all of a sudden an advertisement pops up for a brand new drug called Stelfonta. And I'm not giving an ad for Stelfonta. I just think it's interesting that, basically my dog's toe would be gone right now. And it's basically an injectable. It causes the tumor to just kind of like necrosis and fall off. All the cancer cells fall off. And it's concentrated, I guess they proprietary the hell out of it, but it's like a concentrated version of some Australian bush plant or bush tree or something.
Yeah.
And anyway, so it fell off, and my dog still has her toe.
And dog's fine?
That's awesome.
She has anemia, so they couldn't find any degranulation anywhere like that.
Yeah. But as far as the tumor and all that, dog's fine?
Yeah, other than the
Dude,
anemia
that's awesome.
right now.
Yeah.
Right now, though, she's got really bad anemia, and her white blood cells are like huge, and they don't know why. But
okay, but you didn't.
She just
you know.
fought off cancer,
Yeah.
so and
yeah.
And I mean, from what I know, the ways that they usually attack cancer are all pretty harmful. So yeah, it's going to put her body through a stress, but like the fact that the cancer's
like
not
6
there
months ago.
is huge. And
But it was
she's
like
got a
6
toe.
months ago, and her basically her platelet volume count, which is the concentration, like in the blood, how many platelets per the whole liquid volume, it's been dropping, and it dropped to like 33% of what it should be at minimum.
Yeah.
But she runs around. She does like kung fu moves around the fence, like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, where she's like running around walls. And I'm not even exaggerating.
Your dog does kung fu moves?
She's a pit bull, and in the morning, I mean, she's older, but she runs out at like the squirrels on the fence, and she'll try to jump up, but she can't quite jump up that high. But she'll jump up sideways and like she'll hit the fence like 2 or 3 times with her feet, and then do this like spin.
I think I know what you're talking about. I can imagine it
Yeah.
in my head, and I'm laughing at your dog doing it right now.
Anyway, happy stuff.
That's awesome.
I hope you guys
Yeah,
have
I mean,
dogs. You guys have
a little
dogs?
bit of anemia might just mean that her body's so focused on new cell growth that it's not like breaking them apart to make the platelets that it usually does. So with any luck, that'll go away soon. Because like her body's got to regrow that flesh where all of the cancer just sloughed off.
Yeah, it was basically all the way down to the bone. So it actually ate through her muscle all the way down to the bone. So that's
Wow.
a good point. I don't know. That's how deep the tumor was.
That's
Because
what
when
was the name of the
fell
medicine
off,
that you used for that?
Stelfonta is the name, the brand name, and they're the only. I'm trying to remember the name.
Well,
of the
that's
company that
impressive
makes
because
it.
that I mean, as I understand it, that would indicate that she at that point had multiple kinds of cancer. Because I know that like different tissues behave differently when they've got cancer. So the fact that this was able to get through like a bunch of different tissues with cancer is awesome.
Oh, that's funny that you said that, because the vet actually said it's weird because it looks like a growth on top of a growth.
Huh.
But I actually had to call. There was only one place in
Wait. You
my
said a
county.
growth on a growth? So like a hair on a wart on a
I don't
toad
know.
on a frog on a bump on a log and a hole in the bottom of the sea?
Yeah.
Wow, where did that come
So-
from?
I actually had to call around because nobody had it in this county, and I actually had to drive across to Fort Lauderdale to get it. That was the closest place, and I had to go over there like 4 different times for her treatment. So that was fun. We stopped in the not in the Everglades, but in the Sawgrass. They have some rest areas, and she was very impressed with the grasshopper. She had never seen anything that big.
Yeah, I think one of the issues we're facing right now is that our entire cancer industry is pointed in the wrong direction. Like everything exists to keep us sick, and none of this human ingenuity is pointed in the direction of making us healthy, because that's not how you make money in medicine.
Right, yeah. Yeah, there's no prevention going on.
Right.
It's just treating what already exists and continuing to do it. And like that's a race that's going to continue to go. The more ingenuity we throw at it, the more it's going to run, and we're just going to have to keep that pace in order to keep human life. I don't like.
And this is what happens when you fuck up insurance, when you fuck up the friendly society form of problem solving.
Yeah.
Like that is the thing that like, hey, we make the most money by not spending money. So we profit the most in your health by not having to do stuff. Obviously, that's what you want to do. You want to get like the most leverage on this thing that you can. So an ounce of prevention instead of a pound of cure. Instead of having a thing that's set up so that I have to give you a pound of cure, a pound of cure, a pound of cure.
Right. No prevention.
You better keep producing this need for a pound of cure.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
They want everything. Everybody wants you on the fucking subscription plan.
Yeah.
Man. Everything.
Right. And the proper subscription plan is where you throw a little bit of money in a consistent way. Like, the whole thing is you're supposed to have a doctor whose job is to do nothing. Like, that is the ideal scenario. You've got this guy, he knows what he's doing, but like, he's told you enough good advice that you've prevented all this crap from happening. So he just gets to sit and drink Mai Tais. That's what you want.
So you brought up the friendly societies. We talked about that on the earlier show tonight of Free Talk Live, but here on Beard Talk Live, we haven't talked about it. But let me just give folks the rundown. Friendly society model of healthcare was a group of people get together, they pool their money, and they pay a doctor's salary, every year, right? And then they get to use that doctor, because you don't need a doctor every day, right? And so everybody's paying this money to this doctor every year, and he gets a nice salary from it, and he takes care of all these families. Now, he gets paid as long as everybody's healthy.
Right.
As soon as somebody gets sick, that family no longer needs to pay the doctor. It's the doctor's job to figure out how to make them healthy again. So he can continue to get paid.
Well, I mean, you get the same effect either way, I guess. But
no. The incentive is completely different. The incentive is completely different because now doctors are incentivized to explore every possible method of making people healthier, right? Doctors would no longer be relegated to the office prescribing drugs for everybody's problems. Instead, they would have a vested interest in figuring out holistic medicine, herbal remedies, the exercise bit, who can do what and how much and all that kind of shit. Their incentive is now to make people healthy instead of treat people when they're sick.
So that's kind of like the difference between a stable currency versus a deflationary currency as a solution for an inflationary currency. So like what we have now is this incentives are all to make you sick. What a friendly society was capable of doing is they'd give a steady payment to the guy. So you're still paying him even though you're sick, but if he wants to keep getting these payments, he's got to make you well again. Whereas this would double up on the incentive there. So not only does he want to do that, he wants to do it double quick.
Right.
So that you get back to paying him.
Right.
Which you're going to be happy to do once you're not sick anymore. Yeah. So that's like having the deflationary side. So like on, say, whichever chain of Bitcoin or whatever you like, every now and again, someone's going to lose their shit.
Yep.
They'll send it to the wrong damn address or something will glitch out.
Yep.
So you have a perpetually deflationary currency doing that way, which is that same kind of lighting a fire under the other side.
Yeah. And now, if you apply the Friendly Society version of things to the technology that's available now, post-COVID, there's a thing now called telehealth.
Right.
It's a Zoom call with a fucking physician, right? Or maybe not even a physician, right? Maybe like a dental aide or something. Depending on what your thing is. But you're doing a Zoom call now, so like you could Friendly Society model your way into everything, surgeries. You know what I mean? Anything that you might need in healthcare, you could apply that same logic to, all the way up into the specialists category and all open heart surgery and all of these things could easily be facilitated using that model for a much cheaper cost.
Yeah.
Because of the technology that's available. Right.
Well, and so if you use your model where you stop paying the guy when you're sick, the fact that he can do a bunch of these repayment, like reintroduce payments by just beep boop, talk to you for a minute, figure out what's going on. Oh, here's how you fix that.
Right.
Means that he's going to be able to take on a much higher client load.
Right.
Which is awesome.
Right. Particularly with the technology at hand.
Yeah.
He can just, carry it around with him,
Yeah.
Oh, I'm in a taxi, but what's up? Oh, yeah, eat more broccoli, something, right? Yeah,
I mean, one of the things that we are on the verge of being able to do is analyze the movements of surgery sufficiently that we will no longer need human beings to perform them.
Yeah.
Like surgery itself is a job that has no real security at this point. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That means that same doctor can go like, oh, you need this removed. Beep boop. Cool. Let me get on to the next customer.
Yep.
Can you imagine what our healthcare costs are going to be at that point?
Yeah.
How much time and energy we'll get to spend on other things? Like, people are worried about AI. It's like, dude, this is the perfect possible time for this thing. Like, yeah, I get that it makes everything a little uncertain, but we have certainty at this point. Like, we are getting away from this mock certainty that we had when there was this broadcast of information and everyone was on the same line with the news.
Right.
We're getting off of that.
Yes.
Everyone is
fucking
actually
Christ.
investigating reality and finding other people who are like, yeah, I also don't know exactly what's going on, but I'll be honest about it, and here's what I'm finding.
Yeah.
Right. We're having that distributed method of consensus in our culture. Like, that's why the number one listened to is Joe fucking Rogan, because he's an avatar of the idea, really, of like, I don't know exactly what the fuck is going on either, but I will honestly try and figure it out.
Yeah.
And here's what I've got so far. What do you think about that? And you, and you. So the entire podcast world is this new method of communication where we can just encode encapsulations of that. And instead of going to this single source that will tell you the real story of what's going on, you have actual information gathering.
Yeah, and oh my God, the ability to figure it the fuck out for yourself.
Right. And that is the perfect fucking time for AI. Yeah, you have this enormity of information to sift through. Gee, if only we had these like next level algorithms to help us sort through this shit. And yes, they'll fuck up from time to time to keep you on your toes, which is awesome.
It's a tool, and
Right.
it will be abused.
Yes.
Right?
Already is.
So, like, Siri is going to marry AI. I mean, it already is, right? Behind the scenes, at least. And, what's the other one? Not Cortana. What's the other? Not Siri. Alexa.
Cortana.
Yeah.
Alexa, right? Those are AIs. Right? They're going to be, hey, Alexa, can you figure out the quotient of the theory? Whatever, blah, blah, blah. Say whatever words go here. And they'll go, okay. And then they'll, hey, I have your answer for you.
Right.
And then, okay, what is it? Oh, it's blah, 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 blah. And they're like, well, there you go. I equate AI right now, particularly with a voice interface, to Star Trek, The Next Generation.
Right.
Hey, computer, can you, or you get into the lift, deck 10. Starts going to deck 10. Like, oh,
Yeah.
sweet, man. You can just talk to shit now.
Computer, beep boop.
Yeah.
And then you ask the question, and it gives you the answer.
Kinda like-
or it says, I don't have enough information for that.
You can do it with humans, too. Like, for instance, I can say, hey, Tim, what else did you want to say tonight? And then Tim will
say what else you wanted to say.
It's like that guy Think Penguin on Free Talk Live. I can't remember his real name. He always says that he sells good laptops because the laptops I sell now are basically pieces of crap. And where was I going with this?
I don't know, but I'm glad you pitched a buddy of mine. So
yeah. Well, basically now, whenever I'm assisting my mom with
turns
her
out
computer,
Beep Boop was a commercial.
Beep Boop. You could hear a
yeah,
pin drop.
no, but like sometimes my mom asks me to come help her with her laptop, and I can't control it, because there's all of these features. It's like over feature on the hardware interface
Oh
when it
my
comes
God.
to the touchpad. and I
Other
hate it.
people's interfaces. Ugh.
Sometimes I wonder
would have to
about the
scream my
laptop.
mouse.
Why does the laptop not have a bottom, and why does your bottom not have a top?
Well,
Yeah.
because the bottom of your
I would
lap
have
is
to
your
bring my
ass.
But it's not called a lap bottom. Hey, Tim, thanks for the call, man. We appreciate you. I'm going to go back to this guy because the guy I hung up on hasn't called back yet.
Yeah, Captain.
Ricky.
Ricky from the fucking Commonwealth, no doubt.
All right, Ricky from the fucking Commonwealth.
No doubt, because we're definitely fucking down here. It ain't like fucking Tennessee.
Well,
Tennessee scares the shit out of me, man. I don't know what they're all doing down there, but it ain't that.
I don't know what you're referring to, but I did spend some time in Tennessee a long time ago. 20-ish years, maybe more, maybe 30 years ago. And I had a good old time.
Yeah, but that's cool with the good old boys and that. But they're like the epitome of the Bible Belt down there. You know, it's like you can't even get decent porn down there to this day. You know?
I don't know about that. I would imagine that you could.
Not easily. You know?
I mean,
on the internet, yes, but you can't go to a porn shop and all that because they're just not there.
Right, but the internet exists. So, and there's, I don't know if there's still dry counties in Tennessee or not. I think there are in Kentucky, and I'm trying to remember where else. There's another state that has dry counties. Maybe Virginia is another one. I think Alabama has done away with them, but I'm not sure. If anybody knows more about that, feel free to call 603-283-6160. But, yeah, Tennessee, I had a fun time. Now, you know, it's before the information age, so, like, the internet wasn't everywhere and everything, and it was kind of like in that sort of Ricky, you probably remember, you know, the height of malls, right? When malls were everywhere, the new mall getting built every week or fucking whatever.
I remember the good old days with the mall, yeah.
So it was like sort of just after the peak of that. No more malls were being built, but malls were still relatively popular as a place to like hang out, you know, for kids and that kind of stuff and the youth. And so that's what I would do. I would hang out at the mall.
You were a mall rat?
I was for a period of time, a short period of time. But, yeah, there was a minute where, like, my life revolved around the mall.
I miss skee-ball. I haven't skee-balled in way too long.
I did have a little something else on my mind.
Uh-oh.
You know, and hopefully he's not listening in spirit.
Who?
You know, I don't know if I should mention his name.
Because,
You
like
know,
Voldemort,
he has a name
eBay
similar
appear?
to Ricky, and I don't know if I should mention it.
All right.
He's now called Rick. He was called Richard. And I had a comment on this Joker, and hopefully he never comes here. Because here's the thing. First of all, what happened to Ian?
Dude, if he comes on this show, I get to cuss at him. It's awesome.
Don't ask for it,
I
man.
get to,
Here's
like,
what I'll
just
tell
like,
you why.
change your fucking mind. Figure out a new thing to say.
Well, here's my concern. I got a couple of them. First of all, Captain, you talked to this Joker this past Sunday, and you ripped his ass, right? Now, he shot back to you this one. I wanted to mention to Ian tonight, but I had something completely different I said. He said to you about this mental psychology evaluation that somebody on that show, I'm talking Free Talk Live, a host or co-host, said that they agreed with him. I wanted to ask Ian about this. There's no fucking way anybody that I've gotten to know after I came back would have said that.
Yeah, I don't remember him saying that exactly, but if he did say that.
He said, after you ripped his ass, he said, well, somebody that one of the people or somebody I talked to on the show, you know, agreed with that. Or thought that was a good idea, he said. I was a good idea.
I liked the fact that we uncovered that he was actually an initiate to the very order that he wishes had power over who has guns. So,
Well,
I went to
he's
college and
right
I
about
studied a bunch of psychology. Oh, you're in the cult that you want to be able to make sure that people can't defend themselves. That explains
He wants
a
to
lot.
be one of the deciders.
Right.
Well,
Now,
Captain,
he'll
you
never
heard
admit
my-
to himself, which is why he keeps denying that, but that's exactly why he wants it.
Ricky?
Well, real quickly, if I may, I'm going to recap what I said Friday. You see, back when I was growing up, before the FFL garbage and all that crept into PA, and took a long time, I'm going to
FFL?
be 50.
That's
I'm gonna
a
be
thing,
50.
a hoop you have to jump through to get a gun.
Oh, okay. Go on.
Yeah. I'm going to be 50 on December 25th of this year. Now, when I was 5 years old,
Oh, I'm older than Ricky.
when I was five
Let
years
that
old,
sink
I
in.
had it. When I was 5 years old, I
He's
had
a
my
geezer in
dad's
spirit.
Remington. Hold on a minute.
We're
When
listening.
I was hold on a minute.
Yeah, hold on,
When I was-
Peakless.
Hold on.
It's the Ricky and the fucking
come on,
Commonwealth of
Peakless,
PA
this is
show.
When I was 5 years old,
When
I had
I
my
was
old man.
5 years old, I didn't talk like a 50-year-old either.
All right, come on. Let him talk.
No, I haven't changed much. Believe me. When I was 5 years old, I had my old man's Remington 600 pump loaded in my hands. Number one. But here's how it was different at that time. First of all, there were no background checks. There was no ATF form. You could be crazy. You could be a felon. You could be a domestic abuser. And when it came to use, if I wanted to when I was 10, and I didn't have a need for it because I had full-size Colt cap guns in a leather holster, what am I going to do with a real Colt? But if I wanted to at 10, all I would have had to do was go with my old man to the gun shop, which in my case was at the end of the block. He would have said to the gun shop owner, you know, my son wants to buy a gun. Gives permission. We pick out that Colt, grab some ammo, and
You
we're
mean
good
you'd
to
treat
go.
it like regular property?
Whoa, weird, man. What planet
I mean,
are you
that's
from?
the way it should be. This is what Richard doesn't get. He's supposed to be a gun owner all his life.
God.
What's wrong with this man?
He's
Is he out of his
supposed to be
fucking
someone
mind?
who believes in freedom. Like,
Who, Richard?
yeah.
How the hell you figure that? Is that what is that,
Well,
sarcasm?
you said, was he supposed to be?
Yeah, well,
we didn't say what he is.
The man's a fucking joker and a jackass. Because, you know, the thing is, what happened to Ian screening people with blocking their number? Now he snuck in tonight as an unscreened call. What happened to that shit?
I think the only time he screens anyone is when they're actively threatening people's lives on our show.
I know, but this guy is so off base. And, you know, the thing is, he can be that. But the more you try to, you know, talk to this guy.
Ricky, I let you decide to do like half of a fuck story on my show. We let anyone on.
No,
That's
I
kind
know
of the
that.
point is like, yeah, we have two options. We can hit each other or we can talk to each other. And sometimes talking to each other is going to suck, but it always sucks less than hitting each other.
Well, you know, Picos, I heard you talking to him tonight. And the thing is, you tried to talk to him at length and explain it. So did the captain. So is Ian. It's hopeless. Even
No,
Ricky from the
it's
Commonwealth
absolutely
couldn't do
never
it.
hopeless. Human beings are the most plastic and malleable creatures in the entire universe. You have no idea what
They
a
are
human being is
adaptable.
about to do.
Yeah.
Seriously,
Well,
you have
people,
no
what?
idea what okay, two fucking night, he might have a dream that integrates the information that he learned and just suddenly not have the desire to make this argument.
Or
Well, you know what's going to happen?
hang on, Ricky. Or he'll go about his day, his week, his month, something, and he'll hear something else on the news or another radio program or a podcast or he'll read something or a headline or a news article or something. Some other event will occur that might tie the information that was exchanged tonight and tie it together with that new piece of information and make him go, oh.
Right.
Well, I got one point when it comes to that, because I was thinking about this. Now, like you said, he's called over and over and over. I think it's more than 3, too. And he thinks it's a good idea.
Yeah, we were debating that.
Well, he thinks it's a good idea to have a psychiatric evaluation to buy a gun. Now, you know what's going to happen? If that happens for the least thing. No, wait a minute.
Yes, I do know
thing.
exactly what's
Everybody's gonna
going
be
to
on
happen. It's
medication.
tremendously obvious to everyone but him.
I wonder if it's a good idea to
What's gonna
have
happen? No, wait a minute. Hold on. I got a comment here.
I just
What's
wonder
gonna
if it's a
happen?
good idea to have a gun when you go in for your psychic evaluation.
You know what's going to happen, though? Everybody that gets on this, what's going to happen is they're going to get denied, and everybody's going to be on psychiatric meds. We're talking antidepressants, antipsychotics. Now, this guy keeps calling in on the same topic over and over. That's how ridiculous it is. He definitely shows some form of mental illness.
Here's the thing. He is afraid of his own power as a human being to the level that he must fight it. And not in a way where he confronts his own self. But he has to confront the power of human beings to do evil without confronting his own capacity to do evil. So that's why he just, I have to stop people from being powerful.
Look, Ricky, all this guy, what was his name, Rick? All Rick is saying.
Now he was Richard. Now he's being called Rick.
All Rick
He's
is saying.
Immigration Rick.
All Rick is saying is that he thinks it's a good idea if people were to get a psych eval before they were allowed to purchase a gun. He thinks it's a good idea. That's all he's saying.
And they'd all be on medication, everybody. afterwards.
That's all he's saying.
Including him. You know? So what I don't understand is, supposedly a gun owner in his whole life, he doesn't understand what I said a couple of nights ago about sorry to say, Republicans, the NRA, and the gun lobby, they glorify the AR-15 as knockoff. So people are using it. And then, can I tell you something?
People are using it also because it's a really good modular gun.
Yeah, but
there's going to be parts around for that fucker for anything.
I got an even better one, though. I don't plan to be a mass murderer, nor do I intend to be. But if I was going to be, here's what I would use. Nobody take Ricky from the Commonwealth's advice, by the way. What I would use is a Remington. I would use a Remington.
Wait. Are we talking about nobody, our co-host, or just nobody in general?
No, nobody listening on this show.
Okay.
I would use this.
This is not advice. Gotcha. Go on.
Right. I would use this instead. I would use the Remington 1810 assault shotgun. Here's why. It's less than half a pound, got a shortened barrel. It holds 17 shells.
You sound like you're prepared for a zombie apocalypse.
What's even more, you put in there, a shell with a slug. And the thing is, you can pump those off just as fast, and you'll destroy the world. The AR-15 is better at a distance, not at close range. It uses a cartridge similar to a 30-06.
So the thing about an AR-15 is it is such an adaptable gun that you can't say for sure that it's better at this or better at this, because you can adapt the fucking thing to anything. Seriously, there are AR-15 mods for a grenade launcher.
Right, but these jackasses that are out there that are doing mass murders, they don't know anything about that. But I'm just saying, even the successor to the 810 is even better. And here's what's even better. They created a coating on the outside of the barrel that makes it rust-proof and waterproof. You can actually shoot the damn thing underwater.
Wait, Ricky, I have a question.
Yeah.
How does a blind man operate a firearm?
Oh, I wasn't always blind, Captain. I just went blind 3 years ago. Before that, I was 2400 with correction. 2020 is perfect.
Okay, but still,
Captain, I have a follow-up question.
I used to carry a Colt 45. Okay. I played with it on the radio on Free Talk Live.
Hey, Ricky.
It had the 4-position cock.
Hey, Ricky. Peakless has a follow-up question.
I have a follow-up question. How do I make a sound that ain't like a rabbit? Because if we're going to have the blind as armed as he's describing, I would really like that information.
No, wait a minute. Hold on. I won't carry a gun anymore. I used to
That's how pro-gun I am. I say we arm the blind. That's how pro-gun I am.
Well, I'm afraid, like, say, for example, self-defense, right? The reason why I won't carry, I gave my Colt away.
They don't call it an alley sweeper for nothing.
Cattleman. Huh?
They don't call it an alley sweeper for nothing. I mean, in all fairness, like, I think you are about as good at operating a shotgun in self-defense as most people right now.
A shotgun, I would say yes, but that 45?
Yeah, not the 45.
Think about it. If I'm right in front of somebody, and I was a good shot my whole life, I may not hit them. And if that 45, that with a slug, a 250 grain cartridge, one pop, it's dead.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. That was a replica of the 1873 Cattleman. I had a U-Birdie with a walnut handle. It had a 4-position cock that went COLT. It made the same sound as the original one. I gave it away because it would be irresponsible for me to carry anymore.
Yeah.
If I had to use in self-defense, I very likely could miss and not hit the target. I couldn't handle that.
Yep.
Otherwise, if a blind man wants to get a gun, of course he can constitutionally. I just don't feel responsible carrying it. And that sucks because I don't have anything to defend myself. Of course, I wouldn't know if anybody's pulling a gun.
I mean, personally, I've always been a fan of keeping a medieval weapon next to the door.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Like that's my personal preference. Some people like a baseball bat. I can appreciate that. I like a hooked warhammer, personally.
I like a little like a nightstick baton, kind of thing.
Nice.
I'm told that it's not legal to put lead in them or anything like that. So be careful and don't do that.
Yep. Yep. Because that converts it into a kind of sap.
Well, I mean, that might not be a bad idea to think of something. I mean, that would be appropriate.
I also
You can't
highly
even-
advise against turning your bullets into dum-dums by carving crosses in them. That's not allowed. However, buying hollow points that do the exact same thing, totally allowed.
Hey,
Here's
Ricky,
what I wonder.
I got to talk to somebody else, and we're going to take a break at the
cool.
top of the hour. So I'm going to put you back on hold, but if you want to hang up, you can.
Thanks, brother.
Talk to you soon.
Beard Talk Live. Who the fuck is this?
Hi, this is Elizabeth.
Hi, Elizabeth. You're on Beard Talk Live, the uncensored version, the late night after show.
Okay, I just want to make a comment about the lawyers that y'all were saying that people need to come into the country
Right.
as an immigrant.
Mhm.
What the previous caller didn't say that I happen to know personally was that way back when we had the laws and made people come through Ellis Island,
Mhm.
they always had to have a sponsor. They just couldn't come in without having
Really?
a sponsor. So, yes. I
gotta
know
be
that
shitting
from
me.
No, from my own family.
Wow,
And,
You would
They,
think that
uh,
I'd run into a Hoppian that made exactly that argument by now.
well, just letting you know that I know this from life experience in my own family, and they had to have a sponsor here that was already an American citizen, could have been a family member, and they had to tell the government when they were filling out the paperwork for the immigrant to come over. The sponsor was filling out the paperwork saying that they had a place for them to live, they had a job for them to work. They would not let them become a ward of the state. If they had to go to the hospital, they'd pay for their hospital bills. And it was that kind of laws that we had then. So
Well,
I just thought
That
I
sounds a
was
lot like
oh,
adoption.
it does sound like adoption. That's basically what it was.
I mean, that's the wise way to move somewhere, right? Is like to know somebody that's there.
Exactly. And they one family would vouch for, say, a family of 5 or more people that were in one family unit to come over, and they had to promise that they would take care of those people. Just thought you'd like to know that,
Well,
since I know that for a fact.
And I think that is
Mhm.
what we would get around to if we got rid of the welfare state. Like, who's going to move a place when you know you're fucked if you break your leg? No one wants that kind of risk, especially after you, like, picked everything up to go somewhere. Like, you can't handle a
Exactly.
major expense at that point.
Right. Like I moved from Seattle, Washington to Keene, New Hampshire. And what I did was I rented an apartment sight unseen. I didn't fly out here and take the journey. I found an ad. I called a guy, had some conversations. We shared some photographs and videos and that kind of thing. I said, how much? He said, this much. I said, cool. I Venmo'd him a deposit. And then when I got to town, I had to stay one night in a hotel. And then I had my apartment the next day. Now, in a world where everything is voluntary and you are welcomed by agreements, right? That is exactly how it would work.
Right.
Right. And it doesn't matter that I went from Washington State to New Hampshire. I could have gone from any geographic area to any
To
other
up the
geographic
block, yeah.
area and had that same thing play out.
Right. And that's exactly the libertarian argument of, look, if someone wants those people here, they have every right to be here. Like, if they're going to a place where they're wanted, then you have no fucking right to get in their way.
Yeah.
Now, if they're going to a place where they're unwanted, then you have every right to get in their way. Yeah, it sounds like we're in the background there.
Yeah. Was it Ellen?
Elizabeth.
Elizabeth, sorry.
Do you have us in the background, and can you turn the volume down on that?
I did. I
Okay.
appreciate it.
All right. Did you have more to say?
No, I didn't. I
Oh,
didn't know if you had to ask me any questions or what.
Yeah,
what
I
y'all
just
had
want
to
to
say.
I want to say the reason I'm shocked that I haven't heard this is so there's this Hoppian idea that is exactly that if you have a sponsor in the place that you're going, then we know who's responsible for you. So if you have someone
And-
responsible for you, then there can't be a problem.
Well, I would like to say something else too. When we had a relative come over just for a visit, that they weren't going to stay, they just came for a visit. And we had to sign similar papers saying that, they had a place to stay and we would take care of their medical bills if they got sick. And the other thing that we had to say for the visitor was after their visa was up in 9 months, we better be sure they were on that plane to leave the country, or else we would be responsible for.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's interesting. The one thing that you said, Elizabeth, was that one of the things that they had to sign was to say that the sponsored person would not become a ward of the state.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas
That's
the complaint, the common complaint, at least from a few callers, has been like
all the closed border
they're coming over here to get on that welfare wagon. Like they're just
becoming a ward of the state,
right? And that's not what's happening.
Well, they are now because they don't have a sponsor.
Well, I mean, to be fair,
they don't have anybody to
the
pay for their
majority
bills.
of illegal immigration happens because people overstay their visa.
I don't know that that's correct today. I think
look
that
it
may
up.
have been the.
Look it
I
up.
think that may have been the case several years ago, but I think now with the influx of immigrants over our southern border, it's not the case. But, that's just my opinion.
Well, I will say that over time and over space, like that might be and we're actually looking it up, but that might be a temporary problem in this particular place. But in general, people throughout the world don't tend to do illegal immigration more often than any other way than just overstaying their welcome. Like they get that visa and they just go, I think I'll stay, and don't do the paperwork to stay.
Well, I think countries around the world are a little more strict about keeping up with people that have gotten into the country and expelling them when it's time.
Why is it so important for people to separate people from other people? I mean, we're all people.
What do you mean?
We're all human beings. Why can't human beings wrap their mind around the fact that we're going to interact with different human beings who travel from time to time, some more permanently than others? Why do people insist on inhibiting people from traveling wherever the hell they're capable and desire to travel?
Because some of those people do not carry their own weight and become dependent upon welfare or whatever.
So because a small fraction of the human race is, sort of incompetent in your opinion, the rest of the human race should be segregated and separated and forced to go through all this bureaucratic crap just to travel, just to move somewhere?
Like, if you don't want a bum, don't invite one. But if someone does, they got a right to it.
Well, I think this situation has a lot of different facets that we could go back and forth about. But
that's true.
Well, and the problem is that you are being forced to pay for them.
Hold on, let her finish. Go ahead, Elizabeth.
I was just going to say that if we keep hearing about how awful Americans are and how awful we are to immigrants and everything, but if we're so bad, if the country's so bad, why is everybody, risking their life to get here?
Because theirs is worse.
You don't get the same benefits in the European countries. People here think that people that are natives here think that native born here think that we're so bad and the Europeans are so good to immigrants, but they're not. And if you get caught sneaking over their border, they oftentimes will just shoot you.
Well,
that happens.
And here's
in
here's
Asia
the thing,
and everything else.
It's on a different time scale, but just like I would say that the American dollar is the best looking horse in the glue factory, on a slightly higher time scale, the American government is the best looking horse in the glue factory. Like there are so many places that at least their reputation is not of freedom enough when every place is becoming unfree. But eventually we will grow out of that.
Well, you're probably right.
I mean, the borderlessness of the human species is an unstoppable force.
Yeah, I feel like on some level, the Native Americans may have been closer to correct in the belief that nobody owns the earth. Right. They did believe in property, right? Mixing your labor with nature, right? So like if I bent a tree when it was young and growing, and then later on I went back and harvested the tree and made a bow and arrow, that was known to them as my bow and arrow because I mixed my labor, I made it, right? It was mine, right? So like the ownership of property, you had that mine thing, but they didn't think that that applied to Earth, right? The planet, right? And the more I think about it, like all governments are people who claim to own part of the planet, right? And they keep their part of the planet with violence, right? They pay for it by stealing from you and I, right? And so if they own the Earth, who did they buy it from?
Well, their whole belief system is that conquering a geographical area gives you right to everything in that geographical area.
So conquest, violence is how they stake their claim.
Yeah, proof of violence.
Okay.
And every single one of them believes they own the entire Earth. They just haven't gotten around to proving it yet.
Indeed.
Well, I think that would be true of foreign countries more than the United States.
Well, I think you haven't paid any attention to what the United States has been up to for the last century.
Yeah, the United States is the largest empire planet Earth has ever seen, and there's not even an argument. It's by orders of magnitude larger than any other empire in the entire history of the world.
The Roman Empire and the British Empire.
Well, let me give you an example. Let me give you an example. Are we at war in Pakistan?
I don't know.
Me neither. That's how much of a fucking empire this is.
What's the definition of war in the eyes of the government, right?
Well, wouldn't you know it?
So, because they do things, my favorite, of course, is kinetic military action. This is the bullshit phrase that the government made up when they wanted to go bomb some brown people, right? But they didn't get, it's not officially war. We didn't go to Congress and we didn't, sign the right paperwork and we didn't, we're using kinetic military action.
Yeah, well, conquest by any other name.
Yeah.
And that's exactly my point. None of us knows at what level this empire is even expanding today.
And Elizabeth, to answer your question, there are more U.S. military bases. I'm trying to remember the number. I'm so terrible with numbers. It's more than 200 military bases.
Oh, yeah.
Around planet Earth. And those are the ones that are not inside the U.S., by the way.
And excuse me, most of those have been put there because the countries wanted them there, because that is protection in Europe. After the Second World War, they wanted bases in Germany. They wanted bases in southern
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter your opinion of how they got there. What matters, of course, is that they are there. And yes, the empire is larger than the British Empire and the Roman Empire probably put together.
That is very difficult for me to wrap my head around.
Well, feel free to look this stuff up. I don't remember the exact number, but it's in the hundreds, 200 plus bases around the world.
I don't doubt about the bases, but my argument is that the bases are there at the host country's request.
That is the official story in most cases.
That's what the bases of any empire would tell you. That's what the subjects of any empire would believe.
That's what they would put on the news.
We mobilized our factories and won the Second World War from the Germans. I mean, do you not agree with that?
I didn't win the Second World War. You know what won the Second World War? Fascism. Fascism won the Second World War. The United States was not a fascist empire in full-fledged until the Second World War.
Yeah.
Like, it was something of an empire, but it wasn't fascist. And it became a fascist empire to fight Germany.
Right, as soon as they came off the gold standard.
Yeah.
Right? The only way they could finance that type of military action was to devalue the currency, and it has done nothing but decline in value. Something like 98% of the value of the dollar has been lost, and it's getting worse every day because, it was more important for them to have war than it was for them to allow people to have real money.
Well, I don't really agree with that because I feel like what if America had not gone to war after they bombed us at Pearl Harbor? What if America had not gone to war? How would Europe look today?
Okay. Well, So let's run this possibility out. So we actually had broken their code, in which, and this is fully documented if you want to look it up. We had broken the code to know for certain that Japan was going to bomb Pearl Harbor.
The
on
U.S.
that day.
had broken the code, not we.
Yeah, sorry. The U.S. had also caused a famine in Japan by creating a blockade, not allowing any ships to go to an island nation that has very few natural resources. So if we had not done that as a culture and a people, if America had never entered the Second World War, then Russia would have defeated Germany, as it was already going to do. Nuclear weapons would never have been invented, let alone dropped unnecessarily. We would be in a far better world.
Oh, I'm not sure I can agree with you on that.
You thought Hitler was going to win?
I beg your pardon?
Do you think that Hitler was going to win?
If we had not gotten in the war, I do.
Then I don't think you know anything about that war.
Well, I think I grew up reading about it and studying about it and being taught about it.
And I believe you were misinformed about all of the important parts of that war.
So you really think America is such a terrible place to live?
Like I said, it's the best looking horse in the glue factory.
Well,
that's kind of a loaded question because, so first of all, define America. America is a continent, is it not? Includes North America and South America.
Well, I was talking about the United States of America.
Okay, the United States of America.
I am actively trying to leave the United States of America, and if I get my way, I get to leave with an entire state.
Are you familiar with?
Did you just make a statement?
Yeah, are you familiar with the term secession?
Yes.
Okay. So
Yeah, I'm trying to do that.
Here in New Hampshire, there are people moving every day as part of the freedom migration movement. I believe it all started with the idea of something called the Free State Project.
Mm-hmm.
And the idea was to move 20,000 freedom lovers to the most free state that they could find, and have some influence and begin to figure out how to build a place that is more free, where I can actually have a choice in the products and services that I consume instead of being forced to purchase certain products or conform to services. I want to be free in that way.
Well, how would you maintain your highways and your federal without federal
Privately.
funds and
Do you think that?
Yeah, privately.
No, hang on. Elizabeth, do you think government invented roads?
No, but I think that they
Okay,
helped
well, how did
maintain them
roads
in a
get
big
built?
way.
How did roads get built before government?
Well, we didn't have the road system that we do today
We did,
before
actually.
the government stepped in.
No, we did actually.
Well, we
The
may
vast
have had
majority
the-
of the
we may
the
have
vast
had a
majority of even the
two-lane
interstate
dirt
highway
road.
system was based on pathways that had already been created.
Right. And also, mostly,
Not
they
necessarily
also followed.
not necessarily, because they're always saying about how when the main highway system was built under Eisenhower's administration that
Okay, Elizabeth.
they went through
hold on a
housing.
minute. Hold on. So, what is a road? It is a network that traffic travels upon, correct?
Yes.
Would you agree that the railroad is also a network which traffic travels upon?
Yes, of course.
Okay. Now, it would be safe to say that roads carry far more traffic than railroads, right?
Now they do.
Okay. Now, if I told you that there was a network that carried 100 million times as much traffic as the roads do, but it was not, it is not controlled by government, would you still believe that government is necessary for the highway system?
Well, I'd have to hear what you're talking about before I can make a decision.
It's the internet. The internet is a network that delivers billions of packets of information to remote places roads don't even exist at times.
That's
because
fine, but you're
you can
not
drop
talking about a human. You're not talking about a human body. You're talking about information.
Okay.
I'm talking about
what I'm saying, though, hang
person.
on, Peakless. What I'm saying, Elizabeth, is that if you think people can't figure out how to deliver cars on a flat surface from point A to point B when we can deliver billions of packets of information per second over a much larger network that delivers far more traffic, I think that you would be wrong, because a road is just a simple network. And humans have great experience at delivering traffic over networks. And in fact, if the federal government got the hell out of the way of the highway network, we would have far better roads at a far cheaper price, and they would be better maintained, easier for you to get on and off. There would be more convenient off-ramps. There would be more services available at more points than there are now. The fact is that government has stifled innovation. When's the last road innovation you remember? Oh, some glow-in-the-dark lines in the middle of the street? Like, ooh, like neon yellow's been around for a long time. It took government hundreds of years to invent that one. How about heated roadways? So, like, ice and snow just melts. Nobody's doing that, right? There's all of these features that human beings have already invented that exist in the private sector. People have heated driveways that go on for miles, 50-acre places that have, 17 driveways on them. They're heated, right? And they have like sensors on them. They can tell all sorts of information about what's going on the road, the traffic on the road, all that kind of stuff exists privately. None of it exists publicly because government stifles innovation.
Well, we could talk about until dawn about that,
let me throw
sorry
something
I
at
don't have
you.
any much time to.
Well, let me throw something at you before we lose you.
We do have to take a break in just a minute, so it'll be
where we're going.
Quick.
Some of us don't need roads. So one of the innovations that's going to happen when we don't have every innovation stifled is that some of us are going to be allowed to fly. And in the same way that the network of the internet goes to places that you can't physically access, the network of travel will exist in ways that you can't imagine. So, like, if I ask you who's going to build the cotton when we free all the slaves, I'll tell you something you will never tell me. Well, so when we dug up all this dinosaur juice, we also figured out how to turn it into fabric, so a big chunk of the cotton doesn't need to be picked at all. That is some shit you are never going to be able to tell me when I'm like, well, can we really free all the slaves? So I don't know what roads are going to look like when people are allowed to make them. I only know what roads look like when they are dominated by death.
Okie dokie.
Elizabeth, thank you so much for the call. Have a good night, Elizabeth. Thanks for calling Beard Talk Live. That was fun. Hey, Ricky, we just had a great call, and we're just now taking the break, so we'll be back in 10 minutes. Also, to our listeners, we'll be back in 10 minutes. 603-283-6160 is the telephone number if you want to join us tonight. As we go to break, I'm just going to play you something titled "And Justice for All."
Never see before, breathing nevermore, never.
Fading the song, getting quieter. Now it's fading out all the way to the end.
Because parody is a way of life.
I'm sitting on probably the best parody song of my life. And it is a Metallica song off of And Justice for All.
Nice.
And that's all I'm going to say about it. And then I'm also sitting on two of the best parody songs of my life, where I take two completely different songs from two different genres. I retitle both of them, but they get retitled the same thing, and it makes sense syllabically as well as parody-wise.
Parodically?
Yeah, parody-ish-ically. Making up fucking words now.
Ooh.
And I think it might be, if I could pull it off, it might be the first time that a parody artist has parodied two completely different songs, changed them to the same title, and also had the parodies be of the same subject matter, but applied to two different songs, and then released them simultaneously. I think that's a lot of firsts right there, if I could pull it off. I don't know if I can, but these are the ideas that I'm sitting on for the Kick-Ass Parody Project, because I don't have time to get around to them right now.
A parodiodical.
Yeah. It's
not
even
if it's a parody that you release periodically.
It's not even a period. Yeah, okay.
A periodically. A periodical.
Parody. Parody?
Paradoxically.
Well, okay, there's that.
I want to let the listeners know that I was arguing on their behalf that you should absolutely extend this to the full length of a second half of the show and not just cut out at our usual time.
Oh, that's not going to happen. It's a 3-hour show, as long as I'm sitting in chair one.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Mm-hmm. I just wanted them to know that I argued for it.
You did, yes. It's true. He did argue for it.
And there's a reason.
So,
And
yes, there's a reason why I need to end at 3 hours as well. So I can get some fucking sleep, dude. Holy fuck, man. Jesus Christ, man. I don't know what you do with the rest of your life, but, like, holy fuck, man. I got to get some Z's.
Okay. But the reason we came out here has something to do with having a conversation.
Of course.
So, as I see it, the thing that I'm sure of is all the conversations. The rest of this, I don't know. I do my best.
I'm sure that me making the move here might have been the single greatest thing I've ever done.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. I mean, I've done a lot of pretty great fucking things, right? And I'm not, like, bragging. I'm just saying that, like, I have had some fucking experiences, man.
Right.
I was a teenage runaway, right? Ran away from home at fucking 16, right? Lived without identification, right? I was an accidental anarchist. I plan on writing a book about these adventures at some point called The Accidental Anarchist, because I didn't know, right? But I just had to learn how to live outside of government purview because I had no ID. Now, it was a little easier to do in the late 80s, right? 88, 89, somewhere in that pocket. Because, you know, they didn't have the TSA, they didn't have, you know, all these new government agencies that have popped up since then. They were way less stringent about, like, I got a job one time at a fast food type restaurant, and I went in, filled out the application, you know, with not my name, you know what I mean? And they were like, okay, hey, can we see your ID? I'm like, oh, I forgot it, because, like, it was common for, like, kids not to carry their ID back in the day. And they're like, okay, we'll just bring it in, you know, sometime, you know, when, you know, Monday or whenever you start, or next week or whatever. And I'm like, okay. And then you just never bring it in. They give you your check, you take it to a check cashing place. I get my money, they get theirs. Everybody's happy. Mm-hmm. Right? That was just one instance. I did things that were paid cash under the table. I was a commercial fisherman on a longline boat in the Gulf of Mexico for 3 trips. We fished for shark, swordfish, and tuna. Shark being the most interesting, shark being the most dangerous, tuna being the most interesting, in that we had to go actually help pick up what's known as a bluefin tuna, which is the world's largest tuna. Well, maybe not world's largest, but, like, bluefins are like giant tuna. Mm-hmm. Regular tuna can be the size, I don't know, a couple 100 pounds or something. But a bluefin can be like 400 or 500 pounds, right? Like big, huge.
Yeah.
And so there's some sort of requirement that if you happen to long line more than one bluefin, you can only keep one. And so there was a boat that was owned by the same owner of the boat that I was on. They radioed to us. They were like, hey, you're the closest boat to us. Come and get one of these so that the company can, get paid for both of those fish. And so that's what happened. I ran with the Carnival. I was both a ride jock and an agent. An agent isn't what you think it is as far as like federal agents are concerned. An agent is just a person who works in the games, right? The balloon toss, right? I was that guy. I was the guy behind the counter of the balloon toss, right?
So it was your job to get people to pick up darts.
And throw them at balloons and win stuffed animals that were worth way less than the amount of money they gave me.
Well, yeah.
Right.
Well, that's the thing. You're not selling the stuffed animal. You're selling the memory of the carnival.
Right. You're selling the experience. It's actually a sales job, believe it or not. Being an agent, a game worker, if you will. They call it working because you have to hustle, right? Yes, all of the carnival games are completely rigged and not in your favor to win.
Right.
What you end up paying for is the experience. If an agent is good at their job, they entertain the people, they spend a lot of money out of their wallet, and they go home with something that totally they could have bought off the shelf at Kmart for like
But if
pennies.
it hadn't been absurdly hard to win, then they wouldn't love that tiny little piece of fluff.
Right.
But it was absurdly hard to win, so they love that tiny little piece of fluff that reminds them of that day that they didn't have to like deal with work or any of the pressures of life and just went and enjoyed themselves as much as they could that day.
Yeah. I started an independent record label when I was 21.
Yeah.
I failed, of course. We raised, this is in 94. We raised over $100,000 by way of, it was sort of like a GoFundMe before the internet existed. We went around to all of our family and friends and said, hey, if you will open up a credit card and let us have access to it and use it and pay it, we won't let you down. And they went, okay.
Wow.
And so they gave us, enough to, we booked studio time, we recorded bands, we pressed CDs, we booked tours, mostly in Canada. Right, we were in Minneapolis, Minnesota, so like that made sense. And all we did is take advantage of the college circuit. That's it. And that was, we got on the fucking phone. We called Canada a bunch and talked to the program directors at like college radio stations and said, hey, we're an independent label. What's your name? Oh, my name's this. Hey, we want to send you a CD and some stuff because we already booked a tour. Band's coming to town. We want to give you some stuff to give away on your show to help promote the. And yeah, so they get like a shirt, and then they get one to give away on the show, and they get a couple of the CDs and that kind of a thing, right? So you have to press all of that. That's inventory you have to carry, and you have to like mail it out. You have to keep your word mostly is what you have to do, and then sometimes things go wrong. So you send a guy on tour, and the other guy stays back and handles all the admin and whatever. Anyway, my point is that. We didn't make $100,000 back, and I got stuck holding the bag, and I paid off every fucking dime of that shit myself. And I never got any credit rating for it because it was all in other people's fucking names. But I kept my word because I told these people, hey, if you trust me with this money, I won't let you down, and I did not.
And if you think about it, that is always what allows networks to evolve, right? Is that you have a system of trust. Like that's literally the only way that human beings can expand is through a system of trust. And that was why, like, all of the Jeffrey Epstein shit, I knew a long time ago that this was exactly how the entire system works. Because these, let's call them lizard people, not because I think they're from space, but because they act like sociopaths.
We call them sociopaths?
Okay, sociopaths. So these sociopaths,
let's just cut right to it,
have an effective network. Now, how the fuck did you create an effective network with zero trust in it? And, for a while that perplexed me. And then I realized, oh, blackmail. Right. You can pretend to trust someone because they haven't turned you in yet.
Right.
Oh. Well, then I had to think, so that's how all of the sociopaths have a trust-like network? Oh, they're a bunch of cannibal.
Yeah, that's how-
child molesting monsters.
That's how
and they have to be, or they don't get the button.
that's how political favors work. Like, you know, a Democrat here and a Republican there, they got nothing in common. But there's this one situation where, like, you know what? If you do this thing for me, I will owe you a favor. It's like The Godfather, right? I will owe you a favor. And, yeah, you're right. It's blackmail. That's what it is. It's exactly what it is. You get some dirt on somebody else, and now they're your bitch.
Right.
It's really how it works.
So that's the thing. Like, I have something of a knowledge of how markets create efficiency, right? Yeah. So any place where here's the desired good, there's going to be a competition for efficiency. Okay, well, if the desired good is blackmail, then we're going to find the most efficient method of creating blackmail. Okay, well, what's good blackmail? Universally despicable behavior.
Ooh, UDP.
Right. So the gold of the blackmail world is going to be the most universally, like, in your bones, disgusting behavior, because it has the greatest chance to be blackmail in the greatest number of places. So that's what they're going to focus on. Well, diddling kids is universally disgusting, and eating human flesh is universally dangerous.
Yes.
So, of course, these are going to be among the things that they have over each other. Oh, you want to be in the club? Well.
Yeah. Oh, that's on top of all the murder and the, you know, stealing, you know, the wealth gathering. I still find it insane how somebody who gets a salary of, you know, a couple $100,000 a year ends up a multi-millionaire, tens of millions of dollars in a couple of short years. Not really sure how that happens.
So this is what I think twists their nipple about Trump. So he's not actually a pedophile. Granted, he was kind of friends with their pimp, which is why they let him into the parties. But he wasn't himself a pedophile that they have documented evidence on, which just irritates them that someone does this, that they don't have documented blackmail on the level of pedophilia. Like, they need to have that level of control, or they just feel very uncomfortable and irritated. Now, that's not saying he's any less of a monster, just a different kind of monster.
Well, I think anybody who seeks the chair, and I don't mean the electric chair, I mean the throne, the president, you know, you want to be king, you want to be president of something, some country, that's your good men don't make their way into politics. That's why you never see, like, oh, Dave, the plumber, he's going to be president.
Right.
Diane, the teacher, she's going to be president. That never fucking happens.
Right.
Right. Gregory from tech support, he's going to be president. No. LJ from the liquor store, he's going to be president. No.
That would be
never going to fucking happen.
Yeah.
Right? Like, this idea that anybody can be president. Fucking bullshit. Right?
It's a great line, though.
First of all,
great line.
First of all, if you didn't go to the right college, you ain't going to be fucking president. Just look at the long list of presidents and the colleges they attended.
That's over 90% true, yeah.
It'll be pretty fucking abundantly clear to you that, oh, they all come from a specific platform, if you will, right?
Almost like there was a league of Ivy.
Interesting, yes, almost.
That had these brotherhoods built into it.
Some sort of weird, I don't know.
Fraternity, if you will.
A network, almost.
Wouldn't you know?
Yeah, an old boy network, if you will.
And they all know embarrassing shit about each other. Wouldn't you know?
Weird.
Right. So that's the beauty of this world, is that we actually have the very first completely certain electronic thing. We know for a fact this happened before this in this set of events.
Every time I think about it, I laugh. Cryptocurrency is evidence that anarchy works.
Yeah.
And I don't mean just on a mathematical level. Sure, it works on that level, but I'm talking about on a human level. Cryptocurrency takes the violence out of money.
Right.
That's why the United States doesn't fucking like it. Because it's better. It's better than what they got. It's better than what they can deliver. That's why they hate it, because it's better.
Like, okay, serious question. How long do I have to go before I can start expecting people to know what fractional reserve is? Because there's going to be a fucking flashpoint where everyone at least knows that word.
So it's a bit obfuscated now because, well, they got rid of the fractional portion. And so therefore it's
just reserve.
It's not even reserve. It's just it's nothing now. There's no more requirement for them to have even a fraction of the amount of money they loan in the bank. Now they don't even have to have any money at all to just create money out of thin air and loan to people.
Yeah, it is mask off time. Like, we were pretending a bunch of shit. We are just no longer pretending any of that. Like,
to be fair,
the official story isn't even that we speak for everyone. Like, that's just not the lie that they're upholding at all.
Yeah. To be fair, when I discovered fractional reserve banking, I was already well on my way to becoming a philosophical anarchist. But when I discovered fractional reserve banking, that one stuck. That one made a big imprint on my mind. I was like, you sons of fucking bitches. I was watching some sort of animated video explaining it all, right? And like the money printer going brrr, and photos of the Fed, and how all the people do all the things, and they just literally create money out of thin air. Like, I'm not even joking.
Right.
Not even joking. That's how it works.
Right. So this is why I have an inner cackle every time I realize that the news, quote unquote, like Fox and CNN and all that shit, they're using the word fiat. I've seen it.
I have heard that a few more times than what seems normal recently.
Well, they can't help it. They can't help it.
I think it's because, like, cryptocurrency culture, which is a thing, by the way. I think that might be the first time I've acknowledged that it's a thing, but there is a culture around cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrency culture has changed language, right? Yeah. I think that's a direct evidence of it, is the fact that now, because cryptocurrency exists, now you can't just call it currency, because it used to be money was just known as currency. If somebody mentioned it on the news, they would just say dollars, or they would say a currency exchange, right? They would use the word currency, and everybody just sort of understood that it meant the U.S. dollar. Cryptocurrency comes along, puts a modifier in front of the word currency, forces everything else to also now be known with a modifier. Right? So now cryptocurrency,
you've got that
digital currency, right?
Like, you've got that thing in the corner of your screen. You've got a little ticker that is completely unlike everything else. You have to acknowledge it, like it or not, in some way or another. And at this point, one of the ways that it's crept into their language is to use the word fiat.
Yeah.
So that's become part of just culture. Is that people know that there is such a thing as fiat currency.
It's good.
They fucking lost.
It's good.
Like, they lost. It's over.
Well,
like, one of two things is going to happen. Human species will be eradicated, or human species will get freer and freer and freer as it moves into the network power and the individual empowerment that comes with a network focus of species.
I don't disagree with you. Sadly, I think before humanity sort of comes out the other end of this, I think more people are going to die.
Oh, yeah. Without a doubt.
I mean, of course, people are dying on a daily basis, and I don't mean that just sort of like, oh, of course people are going to die, right? No, I mean, as governments become more like the newspaper industry and become closer to extinction, they are going to flap around like fish out of water, trying a whole bunch of stuff to justify their existence.
Yeah, dude, they're not even bothering with a mask. Like, this is the age of the supervillain.
Yeah.
Like, all of these people who were always monsters, but used to have to hide it in order to keep getting power.
Yeah.
Like, the power structures are so shaky right now that if you bother putting the energy into pretending to be a good guy, someone else will swoop in.
One of the things that I like about the age of the internet and the age of the mobile phone, right? The magic rectangle in your pocket, right? Because that's really what it is. It's a magic rectangle.
Yeah.
What I really like about information being able to travel fast, an underrated thing that people can do without really any risk is just make fun of politicians all the fucking time.
Yeah.
Right. I love that, like, Biden stumbling, right? You know, I love, you know, shaming these motherfuckers should be a top priority for more people is what I'm saying. And you can do it in a humorous way to make people laugh about it. Well, fucking A, let's do more of that.
Every time you try and silence an opinion, I get disappointed because it means you're admitting you can't make fun of this easily enough to make it more worth your time to make fun of this than to try and make them not say it. And that's just fucking disappointing because everything misses the mark. It's good, it's good, it's good, it's good, and then you realize, oh, we're off course. And you got to figure out where course is and re-aim your life. And everything is always a little off course.
Well, we are human.
Right.
I think so far anyway, journalism is obviously under attack right now, and has been for a period of time.
Well,
but specifically, like, freedom of press
is getting completely reborn right now.
It is, but you know, the press, journalists who tell the truth.
Oh,
Sorry.
is an emergent species
is
dominated by social media and RSS feeds.
Yeah. And the only fear that I have is, like, I feel like for the moment, at least, comedians are still safe, but a lot of comedians have backed off.
Well, so comedians is basically what we've run out of at this point because most of them had to become journalists.
Well, they made comedy fucking illegal during the lockdowns.
Yes,
they made live performance art fucking illegal during the lockdowns.
Yep.
They made performance of any kind illegal. They made church gatherings illegal.
So in the Soviet Union, they used to have these things called struggle sessions where they sort of reinforced their ideology. And I think one of the struggle sessions that we had, Saturday Night Live officially recognized that, well, there's nothing to make fun of about Joe Biden.
There's plenty to make fun of.
I know. I know.
Yeah.
It's hilarious how much there is to make fun of in this guy. But that's the thing. You're acknowledging a reality that doesn't exist. And
wait. So you're telling me Saturday Night Live did not make fun of Joe Biden?
That's correct.
Ever?
That's correct. Well, they had not after he became president anyway. They had a newspaper release of we just don't know how to make fun of him.
What?
I know.
Like, I could, like, not know a person, and you could just be like, here's Bob. And I could just look at, he doesn't have to say anything, doesn't have to do anything. You could just show me a picture of Bob, and I'd be like, all right, here's how I'm going to make fun of Bob, right? It's not difficult to, like, start criticizing, right? And that's how you make fun of somebody, right? Like, that's impossible. It's impossible for comedic writers to not be able to make fun of something.
Right.
If it is impossible, you're not a comedic writer. You're not a fucking comedian, right? You're not even fucking funny if you can't make fun of just anybody, much less the president of the fucking United States.
Yeah.
Holy fuck.
Yeah. Honestly, that's a good premise for stand-up. Like, you could start your show out with being like, hey, so I wanted to start by making fun of the president, and I couldn't pick a topic. Ice cream, stairs, pick an activity.
And then I realized
bicycles.
Everything he does is
Let's
material.
start there. Yeah, right? But no one could possibly find anything to mock in that, leader.
I got to tell you, as somebody who does comedy, is a comedian, I would loathe putting in the work to do a routine about Joe Biden. I'm just because do you know how much footage and how much audio like is available? Like, it's all available, but like I wouldn't want to listen to him that fucking much. You know what I mean? Like I barely hear him as it is, and I've already heard too much. I've heard way more than enough to make fun of him.
Yep.
And I'm not a fucking paid comedic writer on Saturday Night fucking Live, NBC.
Yup. And that's his whole purpose. Like, his purpose is to get people to agree with what they don't believe in. Like, you ever see Sin City?
Yes. The movie?
So yeah, the senator who shows up in the hospital and he's like, when you got them agreeing to what they know in their heart ain't so,
Yeah.
that's when you know you got them by the balls. And that's exactly what all of this is. And that was the shit that I didn't see during the presidential stuff, is like, oh, they want faith from their constituency. They want every single little soy boy and girl and whatever else to say, we support this straight, old, rich, white, corrupt asshole.
Yeah.
He can do no wrong.
Why do people even, and I'm guilty, right? But like, why do people even, I guess they just never ask the question, why would you consider outsourcing leading yourself?
Yeah.
Like, this is what I don't understand about, well, most people, right? Like, are you not capable of making a decision? Like, obviously you are. You decide to, get up and, shower. Well, most of you, drive a car to work or whatever. You work from whatever it is you're doing. You make all these decisions every day that lead yourself. So why is it when it comes to this organization stealing money from you on the routine, doing a whole bunch of things you otherwise would totally disagree with if they came to you and made you pay for them individually?
Well, so here's how it works. They let me put my power into an idol. And if I don't put my power into an idol, you'll put your power into an idol and it will have more power. And since they provide the idol to put my power into, I'm just willing to let them rape everyone as much as they want to. All the time.
That sounds pretty dumb.
Yeah. That is maybe not how you have a civilization, people. If only there was a way of literally transmitting value, where we had a permanent record in oh so many languages of exactly what it is that you value at that exact time in reality.
Yeah.
Oh, wait.
Oh,
we're legally not allowed to express love. That's literally what they've done. If you express love in the form of a mathematical language, the United States Securities and Exchange Commission will sue you.
Not to mention the FBI will kick in your fucking studio and throw a bunch of your fucking friends in jail.
And if you dare get some of our love without our permission, oh, we'll put you right in jail.
I am looking forward to what inevitably will be the marriage of AI and cryptocurrency. Particularly with what's known as IoT, the Internet of Things, right? I don't even know if that's a popular phrase anymore.
Web 3 is what I usually hear people
Web
talk
3.
about.
Okay.
But,
so, at any rate, it's the
I don't
ability.
think anyone really knows what the hell any of that is yet.
It's the ability of things to sort of communicate with each other, right? Imagine your car, right, detecting that it has gone below a quarter tank of gas. You set it, right? You've on your preference on your phone. You got an app for your car, like preferences. When my car gets below 25% gas tank, go drive yourself to the gas station and fill up.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
That's possible right now, right?
Yep.
And so once AI marries the ability of things to talk to each other, they're going to need to exchange value quickly, regularly, in a variety of amounts. And what is currently the path of least resistance to accomplish all of those things? Cryptocurrency. When AI marries cryptocurrency, dude, shit's going to change.
Well,
when things can buy other things, when things can talk to each other and accomplish things, I mean, that's pretty fucking amazing.
Well,
imagine if you could create at the speed of thought.
Remember how you were talking about, like, you could go online and find out, okay, there are 12 of this product in this aisle in this area.
Yes.
So it's like that, only we're actually sure of it.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
because we can cheaply encode things accurately forever. Cheaply, accurately, immutably.
Yeah.
Oh, and everyone can do it.
Now, what if AI starts programming cryptocurrency?
If?
When? Right? Or launching tokens on other networks, or doing ordinals, or whatever the fucking, new news du jour in the cryptocurrency world is. When AI gets a hold of that shit, dude, shit's going to change.
I think it's cute that you imagine a world in which people haven't already applied that to their trading.
I'm just saying, like, when it happens, like, commonplace in the streets, right? Right now, AI marrying cryptocurrency has the impact of cell phones when pagers were still in vogue.
You mean when AI-backed cryptocurrency gets exposed to raw materials?
When shit starts talking to each other,
right?
And I can go, oh man, I have this idea. Well, describe it to me. Well, it's a thing, and it does this, and it's about this big, and it's about that. And it fucking goes out, gets all the shit needed to make it, sends it out to all the appropriate places, or, 3D prints it from different places, ships it all, assembles it all, and presents it to me as a finished product. Mm-hmm. That's going to be pretty fucking amazing. Mm-hmm. When you can take an idea and then, like, something else takes it and puts all, makes it happen for you.
Yeah.
That's fan-fucking-tastic, man.
And the whole thing is, we learned as a species how to apply scarcity to the digital world. Mm. That means we literally gave it form. Mm. And after we applied scarcity to it, this AI technology has emerged. Mm. So that's perfect timing. That means that the AI technology will slowly but surely, as we accept the new world, actually apply its abilities to things we want. Because that's the real limitation. And you can try to want something that you don't want. If you don't want to do your homework, you don't want to do your homework. But the truth is in what you want. And that's the point of a currency.
I never wanted to do my homework, by the way.
Right.
Also, like, that whole homework thing, it's like a bullshit.
Yeah. Does absolutely nothing. It is literally a 100% waste of time. Your intuitions while you were performing this ritual were correct.
I spent like 7 hours inside your institution, being Pavlov's dog and answering bells and, wandering through the maze that is a school. And, like, you can't even, like, get everything done in that time. You got to send me home with some shit to do later? What the fuck? Like, what if that happened in any other job? Like, okay, I'm at McDonald's, I'm ordering some burgers, right? And they give me like some buns that are toasted, but then they give me some frozen patties and a jar of pickles and a couple of packs of ketchup and mustard, and they're like, okay, well, your homework tonight is to finish this value meal. Like, go fuck yourself. I didn't pay for fuck, you know what I mean? Like, school, of course, is funded by taxation, which is theft, but still, people are paying for it. And you can't even get a whole course in one day? You gotta give kids fucking homework?
Yeah.
Fuck off. Kids need playtime.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. Play is creative.
Yeah.
And the whole point, and like there's a bajillion little comics that express this exact idea, but what the institution of the school system does is squeeze out your creativity. Because they can't stand people being creative.
Yeah.
Like, they're a power structure. They're an evil power structure. They can't bear you to create something to circumvent their power.
Yeah.
That's why they have to get rid of every bit of creativity. And if you let children play, they become intensely creative because that's what humanity actually is. So one of the things I figured out about, like, how people become libertarian, it's not that they like move into a worldview. It's that a worldview they were using breaks down. And when the worldview they were using breaks down, they start to realize the things that they knew as children. Oh, none of us get special powers. If there's a thing that's moral, it's moral for all of us. You don't get to be king of the yard because you say so. Like, these are things you figure out very naturally as a child.
Mm-hmm.
You don't get to be king of the yard because you say so.
Don't hit people. Don't take their stuff.
Right.
There was an author that I happened upon. I can't remember his name now. He wrote a book. Everything you ever needed to know, you learned in kindergarten.
Yeah.
Right. And he gave a talk somewhere. I was at somewhere, and he gave a talk, and I was like, "That's awesome. That like hit me, you know." And like later on, I look back at that and I go, "That might have been a seed that somebody else planted for me," because I keep coming back to that. I'm like, this is true. Like, libertarian philosophy, anarchist philosophy is just don't hit people, don't take their stuff.
And I'll tell you, any religion worth its salt will tell you that its best thing, like God or virtue or whatever it is written into reality. Any religion worth its salt will tell you that the thing that is worth aiming for is written into the thing that you're supposed to be doing it with. Like, reality itself will show you how life works. And any religion worth its salt is aiming at life.
Interesting. When cryptocurrency and AI are deployed, I think that there will be, there will be far more 3D printing than there is now.
Oh, yeah.
For sure. There will be far more delivery, I think. You know, we keep hearing about these Amazon drones that are going to deliver your packages in the sky.
Good.
And I guess maybe they're deployed somewhere. I don't know where. But not everywhere, certainly. And not even like a large enough population to for it to be a common thing. It's not that hard to do.
No.
Right? So, like, what's the holdup? Is it the FAA?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Is it?
Correct.
Is it?
Yes.
Really?
Yes. Yeah, they are the prince of the power of the air.
They own the fucking air.
Oh, I think we should do the 7.
Oh, Jesus fucking Christ.
Exactly.
All right, hang on. Hey, are you there?
I am here, Cap.
All right, you're just in time.
For the amble.
Do you know what the amble is?
I do not.
All right, you know there are 7 words that we like to say here on this show?
What would they be? I'm kind of new.
Are you familiar with George Carlin?
Of course, absolutely. The 7 dirty words you can't say on television.
Those are the 7.
Without saying them, do you know how to say them in order?
I can't remember all of them in order, unfortunately. It's been a long time.
All right, well,
then I believe Brother Kickass will lead us in a revival of the
Preach to
7
me, brother.
dirty words you cannot say on television.
All right, here we go. Shit, piss, fuck, cunt, cocksucker, motherfucker, and tits.
Yeah, I had that piss one going last week big time. I was figuring since 2017. How the hell can I make this one work? You know?
Make what
and
work?
I get it. You know what the funny thing is? They're saying pissed all the time. That's kind of, I don't know about that one. That's touchy. You know?
So the thing
in
with
my day, the FCC wouldn't let you say that you were pissed on television.
It's funny. I think you can get away.
But you can't say a Pennsylvania original. Don't piss on me and tell me it's raining.
Right.
That you can't say on radio.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But you can say, wow, when that guy urinated on me, it really pissed me off.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't say piss up a rope either.
No. Well, that's pert near scatological, that is.
Pert near.
Which is also something that they will never say.
I say pert near all the time, and rarely does a person get it, so I'm glad that you've said it. So now
sometimes it's good to use words that you know for a fact are not in any of these legal fictions. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you know what's funny about Beard Talk Live? You got a taste of another Ricky from the Commonwealth. Not the one everybody knows for like upwards of 1,200 shows from Free Talk Live. In 2017, I was crazy too. But I was big on the underground groups on Skype in 2017.
Is that?
And kind of what I am here is more like I am there. Actually, I was a little more like Ricky from the Commonwealth for Free Talk Live. It was closer to this.
Who cares, Ricky?
Huh?
Who cares?
Oh, no, I'm just saying I love your program, man.
Oh, okay.
You got a real circuitous way of saying that.
My interest, though.
So
something did pique my interest of all that.
Because here's what I heard. Me, 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 me,
I
me.
didn't mean it that way. No, here's what I was thinking. When I was listening to all that stuff, one thing did pique my interest, and I have a whole different take on this
Not
than
peakless.
the usual bullshit. And that's Ukraine.
You know, I was just thinking how rarely I talk about myself in the third person. Like, that makes me uncomfortable.
You know, the captain was thinking that Ricky just mentioned Ukraine, and the captain is wondering how Ukraine is not a crane self-serve rental service like U-Haul.
You don't know that shit for sure. It could
Well,
be.
No doubt. But here's what amazes me, an observation that I've made. Now, you know, Vladimir Putin. Now, his role model is Joseph Stalin. He does want to be the new Stalin, but he is no Joseph Stalin. Love or hate Stalin,
So yes and no.
Stalin was a good, maybe even better than that, military commander.
In
Now,
terms,
Putin-
hold on. So in terms of control of Mother Russia, yes, Stalin is his role model. However, in terms of like what you're doing with the thing, no, because Stalin's whole thing was there will be no kings, and I'll eradicate every one of you until that's so.
Yeah, but here's my point.
Whereas
Here's
Putin
my
himself is very much a king. So like,
Yeah, but my point is-
well, no, hold on, man. Like, I've actually listened to this dude doing his propaganda, right? So what
Right.
he is broadcasting about himself is that he is leading the charge against the Nazis.
He's who? Putin?
Yeah.
Yeah, but see, he's bullshit. Putin is a
Well,
new king.
there is
He's
some truth to
bullshitting
that.
everybody, and this is my kind of getting to my point too. You know,
Well,
you know what it comes. Well, what the point is he is no military commander. He's terrible. His strategy is the
so
worst.
what he is
Ass
he's
backwards.
KGB, man.
Yeah, but he don't know. Regardless
Dude,
of that,
he was the head of the FSB.
that don't mean shit. He don't know shit about war strategy. I got a point to all this.
He knows ungentlemanly
All right,
warfare, I'll say
hurry
that
up and
much.
make your point, Ricky.
Okay. Now, the funny thing is he's done
I don't
terrible
think that's going to
with
happen.
taking over Ukraine. It's been over a year. He even brought in third-party mercenary groups, and they did better.
Well,
But
yeah,
what
all of
amazes
Hang
me
on,
NATO's
let him
as of
finish,
last
Peakless.
year-
Let him finish.
Hold on. As of last year, what amazes me, to this day, this being said, how poorly he's doing, 90% of our defense budget, that includes all kinds of shit when it comes to defending ourselves from the Russians, is still pointed at Vladimir Putin. What the hell do we need to defend against?
Well, I mean, the same question
I mean,
could
really?
be the same.
I mean, the Republicans don't want to cut the defense budget. Why not?
Well,
what
the
are we
same-
defending against? He's terrible. He's no threat.
The same question could be asked about politicians in general. Like, they always want to be like our leader. It's like, yes, for the next, my administration will lead this country. It's like, where the fuck are we going that we need to be led? All of the planet is already conquered by and claimed by some form of government or another. So the entire Earth has been claimed to be owned by the institution known as government. There's no place left for you to run to, no place to hide. So where are we going that we need all these fucking leaders for? Why can't we just all lead ourselves?
Well, you know what's funny? I got an answer to that.
All right, hold on,
It
though.
goes-
Beard Talk Live, who the fuck is this?
It's motherfucking the Airfall Dodger from Michigan.
Dodger, you sound drunk. Are you on the sauce?
Probably
I seen you call twice. Is that because you're having problems with the digits on the phone?
no, the first time I was trying to
Trying to
all right, I'll call next weekend.
Dodger, thanks for the call, man. I appreciate you.
Lives up to his name.
He was lit. Sorry, Ricky. There was a drunk on the phone. I had to get rid of him.
Well, I have kind of an answer to this.
All right.
It goes back to the beginning between Jefferson and Hamilton and the point of view. In Jefferson's point of view, I mean, when he was president, the federal government was basically optional, when it came to the states. But see, Hamilton's idea was different.
Mm-hmm.
You see, Hamilton's concern was, and he was one of the ones with the Articles of Confederation too, that people didn't have the ability to govern themselves. Now, Jefferson disagreed with that completely. This is why he considered Hamilton, amongst many other things, a dangerous man. Hamilton, when it came to Weehawken, and as far as I'm concerned, I remember Brother Mark said years ago when I was saying about that, he said, as far as I'm concerned, he should have shot him again or something like that. I mean, Hamilton is the one that basically, after the Civil War, we got the Hamiltonian government.
Hey, Ricky.
That's where we really got screwed.
Hey, Ricky. They never actually dissolved the Confederacy? Like the original one that was called the United States of America. Now, they didn't call it a Confederacy. They have the paperwork and all to say what we call this is the United States of America, but our form of government is a Confederacy. They never bothered to dissolve that.
Right. And you know what?
Which is how you know that they don't play by their own rules.
Well, you know what it is? It happened because you get an individual like Hamilton getting involved. It's the same thing he did when it came to trade. Jefferson's idea was, farming and keeping internal trade and things like that. Yeah. But see, Hamilton was an
absolute fucking monster. Now, the reason he wanted a revolution on this continent is so that he could be the next central bank. That was his plan.
Right.
I will be the next Bank of England.
So we could establish credit.
Mm-hmm.
That's where he was an asshole. That's what led us to today. Mm-hmm. And as Secretary of the Treasury,
this is Hamilton's world. This is Hamilton's world.
At the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, go ahead.
This is the world that Hamilton had envisioned.
Oh yeah.
However, it's over. Like Hamilton's whole thing was making sure that you couldn't mint your own money.
I thought this was the world that Orwell envisioned.
Oh, dude, Orwell would roll over thinking, "Damn, I wish I'd thought of that." Wait, you carry Big Brother in your pockets? Wait. You pay to carry Big Brother in your pockets? Why didn't I think of that?
This reminds me of a commercial for something. I don't know what it was, but they went back in time and they grabbed like somebody who kind of reminds me of like Ben Franklin, some historical figure, wearing the frilly shirt, got the weird long hair, but he's still bald somehow.
Representative from Pennsylvania, 19 years old.
Well, at any rate, somebody goes back in time, grabs this person, brings him to the future, and he's like, wait a minute, this internet thing, you mean there are just thousands of nubile women all naked and waiting for me to pay them to view them? Make haste!
Honestly, I am amazed that the human species is still productive. Like, so those experiments
where they're not
they,
just a bunch of monkeys just jerking off to porn all the time?
Dude, you've seen those experiments where so if we hook the electrode up to the rat's brain where it just stimulates his pleasure center, he usually just does that until he dies. I'm really amazed that humans are complicated enough that doesn't just happen. Because you can do that. Like, you can all just, stimulate whatever your version of pleasure is immediately and instantly, all of the time. And yet, we are such complex creatures that we shuffle ourselves out of bed to a job that we hate so that the world can keep on moving.
Well, I have to...
the problem... Go ahead.
I have to remind myself of this frequently because I forget, and I get frustrated with humans, the species. And that is that human beings are barely not apes. Right? I mean, we're just above, right? But we're also very ape-like in many, many fucking ways, right? Monkey see, monkey do. That happens all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Some shit they don't tell you as a kid is that monkey see, monkey do continues whether you want it to or not throughout adulthood.
Mm-hmm. Well, here's some fucked up shit. The brain difference between an ape brain and a human brain is basically that last 1/10 of an inch. That's it. Like, it's just the surface. On the surface, there's this massively complicated rewiring of neurons. And the rest of it's basically an ape brain.
Well, you know what's fascinating? I always say, Peakless, and the same to you, Captain. First of all, as human beings, we are made up of all the other species, number one. But one thing about human beings is we're the only animal on the planet that, A, will not only hunt for sport, but also hunt our own kind for sport.
Oh, that's not true at all.
Oh, you don't believe that?
Oh, that's provably false. Dude, chimps are way worse than humans on that.
I mean, really?
Okay, so chimps, when they find a smaller troop of not their tribe, they literally tear them apart and eat them while they scream. That's what chimpanzees do.
Yeah, but that's not for sport, though.
No, it is absolutely for sport. No matter how well fed they are, they will absolutely engage in this.
Well, shit, I fucking stand corrected. I'm sorry, people, on that one.
Yeah, so humans are weird. We have some odd relatives. So you've got chimpanzees and bonobos. Now, bonobos fuck each other all of the time. Like, they are the 60s sexual revolution incarnate. That is their entire, like,
of the monkey
species idea.
Universe.
It's like, well, wait a second. What if we just had a species that fucked all of the time?
Oh, and it's not humans.
Yeah. It's our closest relatives are the chimpanzees and the bonobos.
I was going to say, humans fuck for sport.
Yes.
Not all the time, right? But, like,
chimpanzees don't fuck for sport, and neither do bonobos.
Okay,
bonobos
I got a big one.
Fuck as a form of maintaining social continuity. Whereas dolphins, just for fun.
Well, I have a big one for you, Peakless. Now
he's got a big one for you, Peakless.
No, wait a minute.
Is that innuendo?
Let's hear it, man. Let's hear it.
No. Hold on. Now, don't get mad at me when I do say this, okay? Now
I'm mad at you for insinuating we get mad at you for saying something.
No, not at all. Well, some people would.
Now I have to get unmad at you.
Well, I don't talk about it much. But here's the thing I noticed. Now, take a monkey, right? Something that a monkey can do, I can't do it. I'm going to tell you this one. He can take a banana and peel it upside down and use the stem as a handle. Ricky from the Commonwealth, and I've been tested twice professionally, has an IQ of 171, and I can't fucking
I thought you were
going to
say you were tested as an upside down banana peeler.
No, wait a minute. I have an IQ of 171, and I can't fucking do that. Why is that, Peakless? And why
I have absolutely no idea. So
Here's
the trick,
why.
Ricky, is to pinch the nipple.
Here's why you can't do that, Ricky. It's because if your IQ is 172, then you should be smart enough. Then you should be smart enough to get a pet monkey and train it to do it for you. You son of a bitch.
No doubt. You know what's funny about that whole IQ? I've been tested twice. I will never do it again. Because that 1 point puts me in a category of super genius. And there's a big dip.
No ego in this guy.
Screw it. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter. It all depends on how you apply it, and I am damn creative at all of that. But people have IQs, and they don't know what the hell to do with them. But the scary thing is somebody did say an observation on the other program, and I don't know who it was, but they said about people being, young people especially, being algorithms and basically automatons. And that is true. When I was growing up, I had a big issue with the school system. I was several grades ahead, but even more, I was already a problem. I'll give you one example how the pattern started. In the first grade with my teacher, Mrs. Phillips, she had a problem me using the word ain't, despite that I was already several grades ahead.
I've had that teacher.
You know what she said to me? She said, ain't isn't a word. And if she wanted me to write the definition in notes some ridiculous amount of times. And I said, wait a minute, hold on. I said, you're wrong. He said, what do you mean I'm wrong? I said, if I'm right, I don't have to write. So she went over and grabbed the dictionary. And I could read at that time pretty well. I could see. And I looked it up, and I said, here you go, read them. She said to me, it says improper English.
That's not what you said, Teach. You said it ain't a word.
That's right.
Ain't a word, so I ain't going to say ain't.
She called my old man. That's how the problem started. They got much worse over the years.
Okay, hold on. So you're
you
gonna
poor
swing,
bastard.
you're gonna swing your 170 IQ around. Let me ask you something. So what do you think of the fact that there is this huge chunk of ridiculously high IQ people that are all into cryptocurrency? So like every currency by its nature is going to let you sort of get a sampling of people that take that currency to do stuff for you. Like that's how money works. But this money is especially full of ridiculously high IQ people. Like we're talking quantum physicists and mathematicians that I can't even comprehend what they're saying in English.
Yeah.
Right.
And those are the people that I can cheaply hire with this money.
Right. Well, what do you want? Well, you mean what? Why they're so into it, you mean?
No, I mean, what do you think is going to be the outcome of that?
Right.
What, that they're so into it?
That there's this money that has a stupid percentage of high IQ people.
I hope that those high IQ people, despite actually using it and all of that, I hope they start pushing it more as a currency and not just like sitting there amongst themselves like these damn Mensa people. I never had interest in all that bullshit. You know, that's what I hope. They don't just sit and talk and bullshit to one another about it, that they actually get out there and propagate it and push it as a currency.
I just had a horrible thought. What if you went to like a Mensa meeting and it was a room full of Rickies?
Absolutely not. Those people hate guys like me because I don't like them despite my IQ. And for 1,000,001 reasons, Captain, you can already probably think about them.
So I might have said this on the program before, but Ricky, you want to hear like my number one piece of wisdom that I got from going to a Mensa gathering?
Oh, go! I'm sure I would never attend them, but go ahead. I'm all curious.
So I went to a national Mensa gathering, and the thing that I figured out is like people are all stupid. So like I know for a fact that everyone here has taken a little IQ test to show how smart they are, and yet people are just stupid. Like there's a certain amount of just human stupidity that no matter how smart you are, we're all stupid.
Well, you know, one thing that I'll always point out, if you look at two definitions, the first definition is ignorant, okay? That means lacking in knowledge. That's all, just lacking in knowledge. But then you got stupidity, okay, as opposed to ignorance. It means lacking in intelligence and common sense. That's because ignorant people are also something else called innocent.
Yeah.
And that's
the thing. It's I know you know better, and look, attention is limited. So no matter how much you know, we're going to make these stupid mistakes because attention is limited.
It's interesting because
that thing has got to give them some Adderall, you know, 90% net, 10%, you know, antidepressant.
You heard it here first. More drugs. That is the solution.
Yeah, I guess. Like now that I think about it, like. Prior to me just even investigating like what my political affiliation would be, right? Like politics just happened and I just largely ignored it or whatever, right? I was ignorant of it, right? I didn't have a position officially, right? I probably said a bunch of things that made you believe I was one way or another way. I probably acted in ways that were probably contradictory, right? To, you know, having any kind of a political philosophy at all. I like to think that I always defaulted to, you know, fuck off, I do what I want, right? But that's probably not true when I look back on it. But once I investigated what my political philosophy might be, I'm like, okay, I've never spent any time looking into this. I'm going to go do it right now. I'm going to find out. Where am I on the political spectrum? Where do I fall? And I go and I listen to all these people, all these YouTube videos. I read a bunch of writings of people and stuff like that. And it turns out nowhere. I am not on the spectrum at all. I have, I abhor politics. They are all fucking stupid. They are all, and by stupid, I just mean the idea. The whole fucking idea. If somebody came to you today and presented you with the idea of government and said, okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to have this small group of people, and they're going to boss around everybody else on the planet. And if you don't do what this small group of people says, they are going to send men with guns to either throw you in a cage or end your life if you don't like it. Now, how are we going to pay for this? Well, we're going to steal from the effort of everybody else, because we don't actually produce anything. We don't do anything of value other than bossing everybody around. And so therefore, we're just going to take money from everybody else in the form of a percentage of what they earn. You would laugh them off the fucking planet immediately if anybody brought this idea to you. But for
Unless
some
they had a
reason,
gun to your head.
But for some reason, hey, Ricky, thanks for the call tonight. We appreciate you. For some reason, people are just like, yeah, it seems like a good idea.
Well, because there's a gun to their head. So if I tell you, so here's the plan. I'm going to take your wallet. Does that sound good? Exactly. You'll laugh. Because, of course, that's not good. But if I, put a switchblade to your throat and tell you the same thing, you'll say, yes, sir. What do you want? Please don't.
These are facts. We are out of time. Thank you to all of our listeners, all of our callers. Thank you, Peakless, for joining me. This has been episode 39 of Beard Talk Live. I'm going to take you out with a little song that has a bit of a freedom edge to it.
Doesn't matter what you see or do it what you read. You can do it your own way if it's just how I say. what you see, or into it what you read. You can do it your own way, if it's done is how I say. Independence limited, freedom of choice is made for you, my friend. Freedom of speech is words that they will bend. Freedom no longer frees you. Doesn't matter what you see, or into it what you read. You can do it your own way, if it's done just how I say.